Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, the only show that on a random, I want to say it was a Monday, you look up to the roofs, the Tuscan tile roofs of the Vatican City, and what do you see? Oh, that's purple smoke. It must be another Ring Post Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend. You know what we need to do, Scotty? And I know you're gonna love this. We need to have the Carl Anderson machine gun sound effect on our soundboard because none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how you doing? Sorry. How are you doing on this fine Monday morning? My apologies. To our listeners. Go ahead, Scotty. Oh, hold on. You just muted. There we go.
I need to unmute myself. I'm trying to do several things at once, and I'm muted, and that's tough. But I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't kicked me off the show yet, so that's always nice. Maybe someday, but not today. But honestly, it's very funny because you and me haven't talked too much this past week. You were busy, I was busy.
Yes.
So now we're just kind of here.
I was busy hurting myself in a 5K.
We hurt people.
Yeah, and the people was me. So
yeah, so that's something. Anyways,
you have that loaded up. What did that show up?
Buddy, I've had that ready to go for a week. Just that, nothing more.
I like how it's the video. I like how it's obviously you get the click sound effect.
Yeah, if you keep it sub 5 seconds, you're good. And all I need is the crack. But I'm here to celebrate the best two foreigners in New Japan history today. I'm of course here to celebrate another shitty WWE pay-per-view, and we'll just see where we go, right?
It was unbelievable that in my preamble I said, you know what, Scotty, we need to get that machine gun sound, the machine gun sound effect gimmick for yourself.
And
in the meantime, you have prepped and loaded in the Good Brothers beer click sound or whatever. That's so funny. Yeah. How do I go from here? How do I become a person from this? Yes, lot to talk about today. Yes, I was gone this weekend. I was in North Carolina as part of the Hardest Yard charity 5K fun run. My wife Jessie killed it. In running.
You did not?
No, I killed me. Jessie did really well. She in her training, she didn't get past running 24 minutes straight. And in her overall time, she got 39 minutes total. And she only walked for like 10 minutes. So that meant she ran for like 30-ish minutes, which means she killed her own personal record of minutes run straight, I guess, let's say. So my wife killed it. I ran less than a mile and then limped walked the rest of it. I have plantar fasciitis in both of my feet. I have a shin splint on my right shin.
Oh my god!
I'm currently wearing compression socks.
Are these newly developed?
I've been dealing with the plantar fasciitis for a little bit.
Okay.
And then the second one in the right leg is.
You're an athlete. You're an athlete.
When we recorded Ring Post Radio, I didn't have it, and now I do. So that's
nice.
That's kind of where we're at with that. So yeah, I'm wearing compression socks, and probably after this, I will take an Epsom salt bath. That is where I am at in my life. I'm currently in pain, and that's
people that listen to this must think you're like the oldest person of all time.
Yeah, I might have.
Because everything you say is like, yeah, I'm like half dead, man. Pretty good.
I think this is the youngest. I think this is the oldest young podcast. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well. Kinda. I mean, you're the oldest young person.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. My knees hurt.
Without a doubt.
My knees hurt almost all the time. My feet hurt. Last year at this, ironically enough, Scotty, if we all recall, listeners of the show recall.
I remember.
Last year, we couldn't record this episode because I came back from the 5K with
dead.
But if I recall correctly, it was both strands of the flu.
You were sick forever.
I was sick I was sick forever, and then I got better enough to do I think one episode, and then I popped a hole in my eardrum that put me out again. I'm falling apart at the seams, both mentally and physically, and yet
At least consistently.
at least
I gotta.
that is true.
I like to give people credit for consistency, and you have that down. You are consistently breaking at the seams each and every year, no matter what. And I think that's very impressive. I think that's very impressive.
And I'm excited for next year, Scotty.
Yeah,
see what else we can figure out.
Consistently, I don't sleep. Consistently, you're dying.
Yeah.
You know, like these are the differences. And all I can say to that is this.
And look, if it wouldn't be Ring Post Radio without two hosts consistently dying. And that's
whoa.
I'm not dying. That's what you said.
No, I'm not dying. I'm suffering.
There's a difference.
You
know, there's a difference.
You are doing both.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Well, here you are for the people.
I am here for the people. We suffer for the people. That is Ring Post Radio's new slogan.
And to give myself credit for the people, I completely was busy yesterday and never spoke with you, so we are not on the same page of topics today.
Yep, I did message Scotty at 6 p.m., 10 p.m., asking him what we're doing today.
It was Mother's Day. Sue me.
I was busy. Scotty, ignore your mother for me. What are you doing? I'm your co-host.
You could ask me any other day of the week.
That is true.
I could have also asked you. The funny thing is I never said anything to you because I was like, he's busy this week. I'll figure it out myself.
That is fair. Yeah, but I do just want to say that the 5K was really well done. The team I was running for was my wife's family's team. It was titled Matthews Militia after I guess my nephew-in-law, right? And his heart condition. That team, Scotty, we raised over $17,000 ourselves. I don't know what the overall hardest yard fundraising effort was. I know the second place team raised 10 grand. So we raised I think close to the whole scope of the event, about 50 grand, I think, for pediatric hospitals and care for kids with degenerative heart conditions and stuff. So literally great. Literal great effort by everyone there, and I'm very proud to be a part of that, and I can't wait for next year, like as you said, where I don't know, trip and break my face somehow, and then I'll come on here.
Break your face in any way next year, I will bring this clip back.
It will. Yes, I hope I don't, and I hope I do at the same time, just for the content. I think one of these years I'll have sort of a through the wire situation, which is the only comparison I'm going to make, where I'm just going to have my jaw. I'm going to hurt my jaw, and it's going to get wired shut. I'm just going to do the podcast through the wire, and then that will be my. I want 1 year. I guess last year I was going to say it was my Michael Jordan year. That was my flu game.
But you didn't record.
I recorded at some point, I recall, in between, and then before I got sick again. But who's to say?
Well, if people come here for wrestling, sorry, we're not here for that today. We're here for our personal suffering. Actually, just not mine. It's literally just Ryan's.
That is true. I don't know how to transition out of this.
Speaking of personal suffering, WWE Backlash.
We'll get the Backlash.
I was just trying to give you a great transition.
I appreciate it. Let's talk about something else. WWE Backlash is, of course, something we'll talk about. Not quite yet. We're also going to talk about AEW Beach Break, which is coming up this Wednesday in Hoffman Estates, Chicago, Chi-Town, if you will.
Chicago. I know like one person that's going to yell at us for saying Chicago, but just say Chicago. They say Chicago, we say Chicago.
Yeah, it's emanating from the Pope's estate. So nice. That's always good. New Japan Resurgence.
Current events. Good stuff.
Thank you. And yeah, that's probably gonna be the show, depending on how much time we have. We already talked 10 minutes about me dying. Well, before we get to anything else,
you think Question for you. You know how have you seen like the thing about the woke pope?
Yeah.
Can we call him the wope?
Hold on. Can you say that again real quick?
The wope.
The devil. Can't pause it. It won't stop. It won't stop. It controls the. Oh my gosh. That's
When this episode gets banned because
ironically enough,
malfunction
Scotty,
in the junction.
Ironically enough, I think it's getting banned for that joke. I think that joke was.
Hey man, that's fine.
The wope. Oh my god. It's better than the poke. I guess.
Appreciate
It's better than the poke. Yeah.
The poke doesn't work. The
No,
poke is doom. Wrestling term. There you go.
There you go. Well, let's before we get into the proper show, I wanted to bring this up because I think it is important. Sabu passed away. The Terry Brunk, I believe is his last name, Brunk. Who the wrestler?
I learned that this week. Yes.
Sabu passed away. It was announced. I don't remember if he passed away yesterday, but it was at least announced yesterday, May 11th. And I don't think we at all know. I guess I could have checked, because the New York Times and big, massive publications are reporting on the news, which kind of goes to show how big of a star he really weirdly is. Not weirdly, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
Not really a guy that he was in WWE obviously for a little bit, but mostly known for ECW, of course. But I wanted to talk about it just because he is such a important figure, at the very least in independent wrestling in America. And I just want to talk about him a little bit, Scotty. What are your, both of us obviously were too young for the prime of his career of ECW. I'm sure you probably saw maybe a little bit of his WWE run, maybe the tail end of it when you got into it.
Yeah, I saw some of the Sabu WWE stuff by the time I jumped in. I think of the One Night Stand show, 2006, when he challenged Rey Mysterio for the world title.
Great match.
And the thing about Sabu is, I remember, this is actually a funnier point, I guess, for me, is I remember when they put ECW in the SmackDown versus Raw game. I think it was 2008. I used Sabu all the time because he did all the cool moves. That is something I vividly remember. Sabu was someone who, like you said, in many ways he's going to be remembered for his craziness in the ring and the things that he did, and in many ways being, I think this is the best way to phrase it, but being his own wrestler. There was one Sabu. There will never be another Sabu. And you look at his career and you look at everywhere he's worked, it's pretty incredible. Obviously ECW is the one people talk about, but he did work WWE, he did work TNA, All Japan, he worked
New Japan.
New Japan, FMW, obviously, all these different places, and has so many moments, I think, that looking back, you can not only appreciate, but kind of be in amazement what he's done through his career, and how many times he's seemingly done something that you just look at and you're like, man, you had such a impressive career because of all the craziness he did in his matches, and he just kept going and going and going.
But not just the craziness of his matches, but also the sort of franticness is not necessarily the word, but the constant awareness of what he was doing was dangerous. He talked about whether or not it's true. It's a wrestler who knows, but the idea of he would purposefully stall on the ropes or do any of these sort of things as just sort of the reminder of what we're doing is real and dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that
he brought a realness to it, whether whether it's on purpose or just because he was one of one Sabu.
Mhm.
The best thing I heard in the past like 24 hours, because I've been here, there, and everywhere, but I did try to listen and read some things. I listened to Taz talk about him, and Taz talked
Yep.
about how they debuted the same night in ECW, and it was about him. It was about Sabu getting over. Like this was the guy. This was the guy.
Taz was only supposed to be there for one night.
Right,
He was basically a jobber.
right. Heyman was gonna go with him, like with Sabu, and Taz was just there to put him over. But Sabu went out of his way to have Taz look good as well. And obviously, the rest is history. You look at Taz and his career and what that ended up becoming. And I also saw, I think it might have been Dave that pointed out how like Terry Funk loves Sabu, which I think is a good sign of Sabu, because everyone loves Terry Funk, and if Terry Funk loves someone, I think that says a lot. Obviously, his matches with RVD are ones that go across the world. This isn't just ECW, but it did make it to All Japan, and I think one other thing when it comes to Sabu is you look at his WWE career, right? It's not long. It's
No.
not necessarily like this long thing to write home about, but he went on there, it worked. He was over. And I think that's the fascinating thing with really his career is it feels like wherever he went, it worked.
Did he? Yeah, because he got popped into WWE as part of the ECW revival, and then
Yes.
he wasn't in there for long. I'm trying to remember when he fully left. I
I think it
presume
was after '07. I don't remember him being there long at all.
yeah, it looks like May of '07. I don't know the timeline of things. I presume. Well, no, May is a little bit too early. I was going to say that like wasn't it he that was with like RVD in '07 that caused like RVD to lose the titles like for the drug arrest stuff that happened?
Oh, I don't know.
But
I
if
don't know.
if it was May, then Sabu was this would have happened like I think like June, July, August or something for RVD.
Well, he lost the title. RVD lost the title in '06. So
Oh, what am I thinking of? Oh, I think that's what it is. Then yeah, he stayed around for that way longer than I thought. Going well into 2007, he popped up in TNA, like you said, multiple times. Early TNA, later TNA, in like 2010. He popped up in like I'm just like you look at his cage match, and it is a plethora of various locations and locales. He, like I was thinking about, I was trying to reflect on like Sabu and like I agree that he is like a one of one person, but I was trying to think of like who is like another one of one esque person that has a Sabu vibe. And like the only thing that came to mind for me weirdly was Abdullah the Butcher. And I don't know if you agree with that, Scotty, but it was just sort of like I was just sort of thinking of just like this not necessarily nomad that is Sabu, but just this like guy that like he just kind of popped up everywhere, did his thing, and it ruled almost everywhere.
mm,
And it was ultra violent. It was glorious. His influence on wrestling, albeit like much to his dismay, him
mm,
actively not wanting to do what he does.
yeah.
Um, partially to probably maintain his own gimmick, but um, his influence like so far reaching. This guy was like number 2, I think, in the Lou Thez Flair Award in like '94, which
Yeah.
is his ECW run. Like again, that is an indie, Scotty.
Mhm.
Like imagine if like I don't know, let's just say Joey Janela ranked number 2 of the Thez Flair in GCW. That
Yeah,
wouldn't
I know
wouldn't
what you
make any
mean.
sense,
Obviously Sabu is much more like,
Much
historical
higher
things,
tier, much more influential and
but
everything.
I understand your point of like you're just naming a guy that's in GCW.
Yeah,
ECW. Yeah,
but
no, I get
the idea that like you would have to pass
right.
WCW, WWF, all these other, New Japan, all these
Right.
other things for this guy to be number 2 is, unheard of. Like Joshi a lot of times we talked about it. Well, we talked about it and we recorded it, and we'll have something out later about it about Io Sky for the ballot, about how like, a lot of times like the highest ranking Joshi like wrestlers typically get is like maybe like 8, 9, 10 on like the
Right.
Fez flare.
Right.
Like just for basically an indie wrestler to get that high just showcases like how famous he sort of became, at least on the
Yeah.
hardcore scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And it again shows his impact and what he was to many fans, whether it be in the US, worldwide. That's the fascinating thing about him is he was everywhere, especially through
Yeah.
the first, decade of his career. That it's just fascinating to look back at. And I feel like one of my favorite things, one of my favorite things from a sad day yesterday, ultimately, um, it was seeing everyone kind of just celebrate like their favorite Sabu matches and moments. And I learned a lot because, like I said, I saw Sabu for his minimal WWE run. That's the first time I saw him. Liked using him in a video game, but seeing people obviously talk about his ECW stuff and how that just kind of changed the game in many ways of what he was willing to do and what he was willing to put his body on the line for each and every time out there. He was absolutely insane. And I think the death of him obviously coming just weeks after his retirement match makes it a lot more sad.
Yeah.
Not that it wouldn't be sad either way, but considering we watched that match and, it was one of those things where you were like, I didn't really feel comfortable watching it,
Yeah.
and I feel even worse having watched it now, especially because I watched that man smash his head off the floor
Yeah.
and, like, among other things,
Unbeknownst to us, this man was a month away from death. Is
which
an
is
insane
it's
feeling.
terrifying. It's
Yeah.
terrifying. But I'll give him credit. Even in his last match, he was Sabu.
He was Sabu. He still bled. He
He
still
did.
went through barbed wire and everything. Like
He did.
this guy, changed independent wrestling forever. Like there's before and after Sabu for independent wrestling. Like,
Sure.
that's kind of what he is. Like I think like when you think of Americanized hardcore wrestling style, you're thinking of Sabu first, because I think in a lot of ways like he is the hardcore like barbed wire style like that was ECW. Obviously, other people were a part of it. Sandman. I don't know why Sandman was the first one that came to my head, but that's fair. Rob Van Dam, but even Rob Van Dam wasn't
You say
necessarily the most
RVD.
hardcore. Taz.
RVD felt like the first name.
Yeah, but like I'm thinking of like hardcore specific. ECW was always hardcore, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the barbed wire stuff, really. I mean, Terry Funk, obviously. It just always feels to me more like
Well,
it's always just Sabu was the like soul of ECW
yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's fair. I think when you think of ECW, for many, it's probably RVD and Sabu.
Yeah.
Those probably two of the top names you come up with. Then it's then it's the people you're naming. But obviously, rest in peace to the man.
Yep.
Again, very very sad to think about, considering again we were just talking about him weeks ago in our match,
Yep.
and now he's gone, and it just wrestling is very sad when things like this happen, because things like this unfortunately happen way too much.
Yeah.
So hopefully his friends, family can find peace over the next couple weeks, months, and so on.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that sentiment. Rest in peace, Sabu, indeed. Um, by the way, what a pose.
Oh yeah.
What a pose that
Oh
like
yeah.
so distinct to him. I was thinking about that when I was putting the graphic that we're gonna do later in the show.
Yeah.
That like what a distinct, that that
few
pose.
few few wrestlers I think have as distinct of a uh not just pose, but
like silhouette, I think.
Yeah, like if you see that, you know it's Sabu. Yeah, right. With like, and his look, right?
It's
Like
so distinct.
everything about it, that's Sabu.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever no one ever copied it either. That is his look.
Well, like
his
I said, I
look.
think Sabu probably yelled at them if they
Yeah,
tried.
that's probably true. That's probably true.
That's what who the guy was. But yes, rest in peace, Sabu. Indeed.
I
Yo,
will
go ahead.
just say this: the most fascinating thing about his like WWE run, I know he had like one match or something like in WWF back in the day, but
Mhm.
his first two like matches in WWE when like they did the ECW thing was with John Cena.
Oh yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
like that's just crazy.
I literally just covered that.
Yeah.
Because when John Cena does the ECW feud in '06 with, like it's, everyone like thinks of the Rob Van Dam one night stand match. That's a really good match, and that's a good moment
Hectic
with
moment,
the
yeah.
cash in. The cash in. Well, yeah, I guess it was technically a cash in.
Technically,
Edge and all these sort of things. But like surrounding that, I think he had like 3 matches of Sabu surrounding that one night stand
yeah.
match,
It's like,
which
yeah,
is
it's
he had
insane.
like a hardcore lumberjack match and
That
like
clip made that
that
clip made
the
it
raw
a
thing. Yeah.
lot. Yeah, where he does the leap onto the table onto Cena. It's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy man. Crazy
The
man
fact
indeed.
that he got to do that on national TVs.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
He did it on national TV, but then I didn't know this. I didn't remember this at all, but they did because they were doing Saturday Night's Main Event that time, and Saturday Night's Main
Mm,
Event was on, I believe, NBC proper, like it is kind of now.
yeah.
And instead of doing Saturday Night's Main Event, they ended up doing a like special that was titled
Oh,
WWE versus ECW head to head, and
yeah, that's
John
crazy.
Cena versus Sabu was one of the matches. I think it was the main event of that show.
That's absolutely absurd.
Yeah. like
Oh
on
yeah, I just
NBC
found
on
it.
broadcast, I guess cable television, right?
Yeah, this
So,
card's crazy.
yeah, I looked at it. I totally did not know this show existed, but reading that card, is there any other key matches
You
I
had
can say?
RVD versus Mysterio.
Yep, that's a classic one there.
Edge versus Tommy Dreamer.
I don't know why that just like that does fit really well together. I don't know why. I don't know what is
Like,
about the two.
but it was main evented by Cena and Sabu, and that's just absurd.
Yeah.
It's just absurd.
Yeah. He was on cable, he's on broadcast, he was on pay-per-view, he's everywhere. Everywhere. And he was pushed and like, yeah, he was the guy that went against Cena. Obviously, the title goes to Rob Van Dam, but that makes sense to a certain degree, right? For the
Sure.
WWE fans. But like Sabu being more of the rival for John Cena during all this feud. If John Cena's the WWE guy, right? He's the champion at this point in time. Let's put the ECW guy against him, Sabu. Like that rules.
The
That's
fact that he
awesome.
was only a 2-time ECW champion is crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it was for a combined 93 days.
But that's also like, I was talking about this on the ballot. I think it was like with Ethan or something, where it's like there are acts that need a title and there are acts that don't really need a title.
For sure.
Sabu does not really need a title. You know what I mean?
No, he does not.
Like he's like an actor. Like eventually, you should put the title on him, right? Just to like puncture a story or something. But like you don't need to have it on. It's like the Dusty Rhodes thing. It's like it's more about the journey, if anything, probably.
Right.
But yeah, Sabu, what an insane man. I'm glad he existed. I think wrestling was better for it. Yeah, so rest in peace, Sabu, indeed. Let's move on. Let's talk about WWE. Speaking of WWE, Backlash was premium live event pay-per-view that took place St. Louis, Missouri, at the Enterprise Center. I believe it was 17,000 in attendance, perhaps. At least that's what Wikipedia tells me. I assume that's the inflated number. I don't know. Either way, this show, 5 matches here. Overall, Scotty, what do you think of the premium live event?
It wasn't as bad as I said. Like it wasn't like it was a difficult watch. It's just like
It wasn't a
the
stinker.
way it's a waste of my goddamn time.
Yeah.
Like that's what these are, you know. It's like it wasn't a stinker, and I have my thoughts about the main event and their inability or ridiculous absurdity that they have decided to go down. But it was a fine show. Like again, it's you looked at the card, you said this isn't going to be that great of a show. Would you look at that? It wasn't. like,
No.
like it on paper, it lived up to what my expectations were. If not, maybe went a little higher, just because, like, again, I didn't have many high hopes. We previewed it and we said, "Wow, this is pretty bad." So yeah. I mean, it's funny talking about WWE now because like they're in this stage where it's like they just kind of they're in coast mode very
Yes.
clearly.
Oh, I
And
100% agree with this point. Continue, please.
they're in complete coast mode when it comes to their pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating
Especially the
because
B ones. Especially the B ones. The
in
Backlash
fact,
ones.
like we are only a few weeks away from Money in the Bank. Like how? And you know what's crazier? You know what's insane?
Sure.
So you on the 24th, you have Saturday night's main event. Okay, that's
Mhm.
in 2 weeks. And boy, oh boy, do I not want to watch that show.
You're not excited for Jey Uso versus Logan Paul?
Couldn't be less excited. The day after is WWE Battleground, which is NXT, but this is just to prove my point.
Mhm.
Then 2 weeks later is Money in the Bank and Worlds Collide on the same day.
Oh my God! Yes, the
And
World's
then
Collide show
3 weeks after that is Night of Champions.
with probably featuring
And
Mr. Punk,
supposedly
Mr. Chick
Evolution's supposed to happen in June too.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of pay-per-views
Yeah, is
that
it
I have to watch for this damn show.
I think it's fair to say, like, it's interesting you say, like, coasting and then read all of those things, because
We're
what
gonna
that reads
post
to
for all of them.
what it reads to me then is like, well, this is quantity. This is not
Oh
necessarily
yeah.
quality.
It's
This is quantity.
long been quantity over quality for this company, to be fair. That
That
is the
is
definition
true.
of the WWE product.
But
But
now
this
you
is
have
excessive.
I guess SmackDown's now going back to 2 hours, but it was at 6 hours of television plus
Yeah.
NXT plus Evolve plus Level Up. I think that's all of them. Then plus the Saturday Night Main Event quarterly specials, plus the
I just
Saudi
saw the
Arabia
Battleground
shows,
card. Holy
plus
shit.
the NXT pay-per-views. Yeah.
Holy shit. The Battleground card just broke my freaking brain.
Yeah. That's the Joe Hendry title defense, right? Where he's losing the
Yeah,
title
Joe
to Trick
Hendry
Williams.
versus Trick. Wow, though. Finally, TNA has a real world champion.
Well, it could have been Randy, but alas.
Miles Bourne's challenging for the NXT title.
Sure.
It's a different name. I'm just shocked. And then, Stephanie Vercare versus Jordan Grace, which would be legitimately great. But I digress.
Much like this show with Backlash, where the women's match is going to be probably far superior than everything else here.
Yeah.
It is very much a coasting. I don't like. It's not a question of like I don't know why. It's just sort of like it kind of stinks because, and I think a big part of the coasting aspect that you're talking about, Scotty, is the disappointing returns on this John Cena farewell tour. Obviously, there's the whole heel turn of it all, but this isn't really holding much interest for me as I was hoping it would be, right?
Oh no.
And I don't necessarily know like the financials of it. Seeing if we're cooling off a little bit, we're certainly cooling off at the beginning of the year. I don't know what it is now without Cody. I imagine cooling off a little bit, continuously. But it just you watch this show, you watch this main event, and it's just like the excitement is not there. How we're doing the world champion, heel turn stuff is just not working
I
at
don't think it's
all.
working for anyone, whether it be Cena himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can just tell he's not in it.
You're right. It does not ultimately
The
feel like John Cena is into what he's
the
doing,
most he's been
which is
into
crazy.
this, I thought, was I don't know if you saw it, you probably didn't, is the post-match when the actual pay-per-view goes off the air.
Mm-hmm.
So that this was the most interesting part of his entire retirement run besides the turn itself.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, obviously the turn itself was a massive deal, but now it's like we're here. So on that, the crowd is chanting "Thank you, Cena," because it's still his last show in St. Louis, and he's like showing emotion. And he's like, "Oh, man, like maybe I'm not doing the right thing." And I was like, "Thank God, please just fix this." I was like, "You guys have an out, and it's the fact that he's still John Cena. Use it now because like this sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's not good." And I thought I'm just gonna skip to the main event now. I thought him and Randy Orton were actually having an interesting match, which was a fascinating world to live in. And
Mm-hmm.
then they said, "Let's jump off a cliff." To absurdity.
Yeah.
Like for them in 2025, I was like, this is probably as good as you're gonna get, truthfully. It's not boring, the crowd's super into it. And then
Mhm.
they're like, how do we ruin that in every way?
Yes.
And they did 17 ref bumps, 75 and now the RKOs are always going to be pops, but it's like, what is the point of this? And it's like and then how this is going to end. It was like, oh, title shot to the head because that is the gimmick we have run with. It's uncreative bullshit
You know
that
what's what's
should
funny
not
about
be
that?
John Cena's retirement run.
You know what's funny about that uncreative bullshit? I'm not the first person to make the comparison. Watching that main event, I was like, "What is this? A Death Riders match? What are we doing?
That's a good one.
What are we
That's a
doing
good
over here?"
one. But that's a great shout because no one's into either of those.
Yeah, it just feels so similar. Of
Right.
like
And it feels like this week is the time AEW finally takes the turn away from the typical Death Rider match, while WWE is
leaning in.
somehow leaning in more than I think the Death Rider match.
Yeah, it was. Yes, you're right that like it started well enough with what you're gonna do with John Cena, Randy Orton at this
For
age in
sure.
2025.
The crowd was eating it up.
Crowd was
Every bit
eating
of
up.
it.
It was moving in water a little bit,
For
a little
sure.
slow,
See,
a little
I
slow,
thought Cena looked a lot better here though than Mania.
which I feel like that sucks. I do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I agree because ultimately, like, that sucks. He's against Randy Orton, who is also super old and has always been aggressively slow. Uh,
Sure.
I
Sure.
think if anything, the expectations on this were lower, to be fair.
Yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
I mean,
Whereas the Cody one, we're like,
Backlash compared to WrestleMania.
yes, but also like
Cody
that
compared
that was
to
like the first
Randy.
that was like the first
Yeah.
real match for what we're gonna get with this heel turn and everything.
Yeah.
And then we get it, we're like, oh,
Oh.
that's
Right.
that's what this is.
Yeah.
And coming into this, you're
And
recalibrated a little bit.
and again, it's one of it feels obviously I wasn't watching or there during it, but it does have a same feeling to just every time I read back about when Stone Cold turned. It's like no one wants this. No one wants to boo him, right?
Yeah,
No one wants to boo Cena. They've
yeah.
gone to the point where they've just kind of stopped booing Cena and they're just happy to see him
What
because
you talked
that's
about
what the
like
retirement run is.
you talked about like him now like having that facial recognition of
Right.
like maybe I'm regretting it. They're now like leaning into it of like, okay, we're already teasing the switch.
Which again, I wouldn't fault them for just going back and acting like just admitting defeat on this
Yes.
because it's better for your product if you do.
Yeah.
It is
Did I?
because it's not like you have a baby face to put over besides Cody. And in the end, I'm guessing that's what happens is Cody beats him and then they handshake and then Cena again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one wins out of it.
Well, I think I said this at Vinia, but like again, the one thing I'll give Vince McMahon here is that like I guess he was right in never turning
Mhm.
John Cena heel. I mean,
Yeah.
what doing the retrospective series, it's like, John Cena's a heel, and at the time it's like, well, this isn't that good. but there's potential, right? You can
Sure.
see the potential what this guy can be. And then when he turns face, that's when he starts like bubbling up and get red hot, right?
Absolutely.
Here, this also isn't good, but instead of,
Yeah.
of a young prospect that you can see
Yeah.
potential in, you see an old man on the
Mhm.
the not even latter half of his career, the
Right.
last year of his career, and you're like,
Mhm.
this is what I'm gonna get. Am I
Yeah.
going to get this for the rest of the year? And this is
Nope.
the sour taste that I'm gonna be left in my mouth. Is this the last season of Game of Thrones that I'm watching? Like,
Does feel like that,
is this
yeah.
going to not? It's not going to ruin John Cena's career, like
No,
Game of
not at all.
Thrones. Like Game of Thrones last season ruined Game of Thrones. But is this going to be what I'm stuck with sitting when I think about John
Right.
Cena?
No, you know what I think is the fascinating part of this? I've seen a lot of people be like, "See, the heel turn never made sense." And I was like, No. It would have worked when he was actually wrestling.
Yeah.
Like when he was in his prime, and
Yes.
in this, it would have worked. Not when he's not in this, and he's just like, Cena has made it to the point in his career and has been here for the better part of a decade where he's just Cena. Like he is playing Cena, he is him. He is that guy, and that is it. So now it's so unnatural for him to be a heel because like I don't do this. This isn't my thing. I'm an actor. Like at the end of the day, I'm an actor. Like that is my first career now. This is just me having to now do that in a world that I was so natural at by the time this came around, right? So like that is the problem. I see people say like, yeah, it's better than say if he was just, walking around being cartoon Cena, but it's like he is being cartoon Cena, but it's
Yeah.
worse because it's heel cartoon Cena. And he
It's faker.
clearly
It's faker
it's
as a heel.
way faker because no one believes it. And I think the number one thing is Cena doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
And
This is
Cena's
not.
always believed in his stuff.
This doesn't feel like who John Cena
Right.
is.
The most natural he has felt on this retirement tour, at least post heel turn, was literally the post match that didn't air on the actual pay per view. When he's emotional, he's looking at everyone like that was real. Like you could tell that was real, genuine emotion. It's like, yes, do that. Just get this over with because this is bad.
Real quickly, I just want to say I'm fucking so sick and tired of Paul Levesque's Triple H's booking
Yeah, this guy stinks.
of doing fucking creative like story beats not on like the pay-per-views or
My
on
favorite thing would be
television.
if it was just Cena being Cena.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
him just starting like the idea of like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't like doing this anymore. I'm gonna start telling my own story.
I would love that. But he's Triple H has done it too many times.
Oh, he does it all the time.
The Kevin Owens, Cody pile driver, the beat 'em ups and
When you
even
put
the
up the executive producers, Paul Levesque and Lee Fitting, and
yeah.
then something happens.
This guy fucking loves doing story beats not on television.
Yeah. I understood like why he tried. I do. It's right. It's like you want to create a realness to it because not everything happens on TV. But when you keep going back to it, it's like, all right, man, we get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match was upsetting.
I thought it was bad. I thought it was just straight bad. I think I gave it the same score as I gave the Cody match, ultimately.
I definitely went way higher than that because it was definitely like not way higher too.
Sure. Yeah, there is an element of this succeeded more because the expectations were lower.
Yeah, the crowd was also like the Randy Orton crowd, so like everything he did, they were into. The Cody match is like, is there something gonna happen? And then you got Fiend.
You quietly start hearing the crowd think to themselves, "Is this all this is?"
Yeah, this show did have one of the worst matches of the year on it, though. So shouts out.
Yeah, that is true. That is
holy
true.
Stinky.
I guess we'll move to that then. Or do you have any?
Yeah, I was gonna say those were all my thoughts about Cena and Randy. I think.
I mean, Randy's not like necessarily the best partner in these sort of situations.
Sure.
I get it. I get why
it would have worked better if you just had John Cena versus Randy. That goes without saying, and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
Would have just been fine. Would have been fine, nice like 3.25 star match, and we could all went home happy. But instead they I saw someone say they feel like they don't trust Cena to have the finishing stretch, which is
Yeah,
crazy
that's a great
because
point.
they were having the finishing stretch, and then the shit went like off the hinges.
That's what's so frustrating about the WWE style of booking and match producing everything is that like they don't trust even their top tier wrestlers, and they just Paul's got to get
Right.
in there and just tweak a little bit,
Mhm.
and it's like no, just let it breathe.
You can
Just
tell
let
when
it
he's
go.
making the tweaks
Yes.
because they always usually stink. Speaking of stink,
Let's talk
move
about the
on.
semi-main event, which was Gunther defeating Pat McAfee, 14 minutes and 7 seconds. I think there are many reasons why this match did not work. Number one, there's
Michael Cole getting involved.
there's the obvious thing of like, this is not what you and I wanted. Like, you and I really just wanted like Gunther going out there and destroying Pat McAfee.
Sure.
And instead, it was similar to the Jey Uso WrestleMania match to the extent of we are lowering the quality of wrestler that Gunther is and almost making it 50-50 to a certain degree with
Oh yeah,
Pat
it was way
McAfee,
too close.
a not wrestler. An upsetting match that, like, I don't know. This might sound strange, but like, I think one of the worst parts about this match, Scotty, other than Pat McAfee, is the layout of the match creating too much hope for Pat.
Oh yeah, like I agree.
I never
I
truly
agree.
felt like Gunther was dominating this man.
No, he had like 4 hope spots.
Yes.
Like after every 2 minutes of a beatdown, he had a hope spot. I was like, this is what setup is this?
The only way I knew that Gunther was quote unquote dominating Pat McAfee was Michael fucking Cole screaming it down my ear holes
Right.
over and over again. I'm like, come on, he's just a commentator. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this.
Yeah. It stunk. Stinky match, bad match, worse than the Jey Uso match for me.
Yeah.
I hated it. There's nothing I walked away from really liking this. I was strong. I didn't give it a dud. I know you're proud. Give it a quarter.
It's the
But
thing of like, it's the kind of match that like I sort of struggle with of like,
the
okay,
problem is the crowd was into it.
well, yeah, that's also a big part of it. But this thing of like,
Or for them, the solution, I guess.
I truly, it's like almost like sometimes when you like watch a bad movie where it's like, well, this is not how you should have done this movie in any
Right.
capacity. This is not how you should have done this match really at all. But then I think to myself, okay, what was the director's intent of like, what
Right.
were they trying to do? And did they succeed in some regard in what they were trying to do?
Sure.
What they were trying to do, I think, was give hope to Pat McAfee, almost make him seem like he's on a similar level to a former world champion, and then have
It
him lose to,
sounds so
and then have Gunther
stupid.
give respect to Pat McAfee afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they succeed at doing that? No, I think they like did too much. I
I
think
don't
they
think
like,
they succeeded at anything. There was nothing successful about this.
if they wanted to have like Gunther being dominant or whatever, they utterly failed. Having
Wow.
him show
Yeah.
respect to Pat McAfee after the match. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
I
What
don't
are
know.
we doing here, Scotty?
I
This
don't
guy is
know.
basically doing a, let's say, 60-40 match where he's trading chops with Gunther, a former world champion, against a former NFL punter turned commentator.
I
Which,
mean,
by the way, hold on. Now I'm in the rant mode. Which, by the way, why do we not build up Pat McAfee's matches around his punt kicks, his
make a
PK?
great point.
Why do we like this match could have easily been Scotty Gunther beating him, Pat McAfee getting the hope spot by getting a kick or constantly teasing, trying to get a kick, Gunther stopping him every way. And then when he finally hits it, it almost
Absolutely.
like KOs Gunther,
Yeah.
like stun locks him a little bit.
Yeah.
And Pat McAfee can finally do anything.
I thought that was the worst part of the match. When he did hit the kick finally, it was like nothing. I was like,
Yes.
whoa, hold on. No. The whole point to him because I remember his Adam Cole match way back in the day.
Yeah.
Is when he hit that, it was like, oh my God, he's gonna win. This was like nothing. It was like, oh, he hit the kick. And they just kept wrestling.
He had a hope spot late in the match that was like, I don't remember what the move was, but he does some move and then he kicks him 3 times. And I'm like, and then the last one is like the and then the big old like kind of punt kick. And I was like, why wasn't that first? Why wasn't it like Gunther gets caught in the ropes and Pat McAfee real quickly out of desperation goes to kick him? Gunther like dodges out of the way real quick, you know?
Right. They could have sold that more. They know, like, people know what his career was.
Yeah. He came out with
like,
the fucking, like, basically the jersey.
Yeah, like, it was, I mean, WWE has this impressive, like, run for their pay-per-views right now between this and WrestleMania. I can't remember the other pay-per-views before that.
Chamber.
All right, maybe not Chamber because the Chamber match was good, but like the WrestleMania shows in this, where the back half of the shows are just deplorable.
Yeah,
like you're just like, what am I watching? Like, this stinks, and like this back to back with the other thing. Like the first 3 matches on the show, like fit their goal. Like they did what they were supposed to do. These 2 matches, I mean, I guess this did what it was supposed to do for the crowd, but for me, not so much.
Yeah. Logan James in the chat brings up I think a solid question. Gunther is turning babyface ?
Yeah, great picture, by the way. Sorry.
The picture of Mayu, Azuki, and Io, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible idea if that's the case.
Gunther turning babyface. Well, he's gonna face Goldberg, so like, there's no way he's babyface yet.
Yeah, if he's facing Goldberg, then he can't. In which case, if he's facing Goldberg again, why did you show respect to Pat McAfee? Or just but like also it's like, if you're facing Goldberg, then this should have been a Goldberg style match, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely losing to Goldberg.
So then it almost makes me question: is he facing Goldberg?
You know what I actually asked myself? Is Gunther good anymore?
These last 2 pay-per-view matches for Gunther.
What's the last great Gunther match, man?
All right, let's pull up the old Gunther cage match. Just
him and Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn
from Mania.
Yes. That 100% yes.
Because that's over a year ago.
What we're gonna say great is above 4.
You know what's his highest rated match of the year is? Against against Axiom randomly. I thought it was against Akira Tozawa. So I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, above a 4, so 8 or above.
I got Damian Priest versus Gunther August 3rd. I assume that was SummerSlam last year.
Belt. Yeah, I have no recollection of that, so I disagree.
Before that, we have a Gunther versus Sheamus May 6, 2024 on a random Raw.
King of the Ring? Probably.
Yes, the main event, King of the Ring, first round match. Oh, geez. And then before that is Gunther versus Sami Zayn, obviously at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
those are 3 cage match 8+ rated matches in the past year.
Bad. He was world champion
for most of that run, the entire run. Sorry.
Hashtag noticing or whatever the people say. Yeah, this is bad.
And the last 2, a 5.47 versus Pat McAfee and a 4.44 versus Jey Uso. I don't know. I think this match was worse than Jey Uso.
I agree.
The cage match people are saying this is better. No, this was
fundamentally it's a worse match.
Fundamentally, it's a worse. The logic behind it doesn't make any sense. If we're turning Gunther, like if the forward direction of like, are we turning Gunther babyface? Why are we doing that? You know, if WWE wants to make this guy, like, you know, not decoded, why are we turning a babyface?
This guy had Jimmy Uso bleeding like 2 weeks ago.
Like a month ago.
Now him and Pat McAfee are just having a match.
Yes.
Get out of here.
And then like good job afterwards. Like, fuck off, dude. What are we doing?
Yeah, this sucks.
This sucks. Anyways, WWE Intercontinental title match. Dominic Mysterio defeats Penta, 9 minutes and 17 seconds. I thought this was a nice little match, sub 10-minute match, fine little match.
Dominic, I'm going to say it. Pretty solid. He's pretty solid now. He's fine. Like, there's nothing bad about Dominic. I'm sorry to the people that hate him, that don't watch him, obviously. He's fine. And he's over.
Yeah,
like
that's
insanely
over.
It's I'll give him this. Ever since he turned heel, he's been over one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know how, but he is.
I think at this point he is just a guy that just needs way more reps. And I do kind of think that the IC title run could get him there. Like I can't see
a good amount.
Yes, I can't see Dominic working like a 20-minute match. Soon. But like
he's working AJ next.
Yeah, and AJ is the guy that will get him to like 15, maybe even 20, but definitely 15.
Like a nice 15-minute match. Yeah, like he's a good hand that gets reactions. I said to you a few weeks ago, I think like he is somehow like, I remember that list that maybe ESPN released, like best wrestlers under 30 or whatever, and he was over MJF and everyone freaked out, and I was like, I'd rather see Dominic than MJF these days by far. So maybe they were onto something, because like, again, he's also wrestling shorter matches. It's not like he's going out there and having 20-minute clinics which reminds me, did you see you probably didn't see this, but over the weekend or something, like Becky talked about working on a movie with MJF. It's like, oh yeah, good kid, whatever.
Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah, I beat him in a promo battle, whatever. And then MJF said, yeah, it was great. Wouldn't beat me in promo battle. And someone wrote in quotes like, I'm the man. I main event to WrestleMania. I'm the man. And then they said for MJF, Becky Hogan looks at the camera. And I was like, oh my God, I hate how true that is. Man, MJF sucks. It's true. MJF's terrible.
I think like the thing about MJF is that like
I don't want to watch him.
Well, yes. I worry that he has hit his ceiling.
Oh, he absolutely did.
I think he like fast tracked to his ceiling, and I don't, because I like, look, I see Dominic Mysterio right now, and I don't know what his ceiling is per se, but I know for a fact he has not hit it, and he is getting there.
There's potential there.
There's something here that we can mold.
Sure.
Like at this point in time, right?
Yeah.
MJF, like, where do you, it's the thing of like, where do you go from here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He is a guy that like should exclusively sign. He's a guy that should exclusively sign 2-year deals and just jump back and forth over and over again. Because it is like, I don't know what else we can do with this guy.
Like, if you were to ask me like the future of AEW, he wouldn't even be a name I said.
No, I don't think he would.
Which is insane to think about years later, right?
Yeah.
Years removed from like what he was very obviously like, he's gonna be the guy. And it's like, no, he's not. He shouldn't be. Get him away from me.
Yeah, when I think of the future, I think of like fucking Kyle Fletcher, number 1 with a fucking bullet. I think of like Kevin Knight. I think to a certain degree Takeshita, I think he's got more of the present than he is the future. I think of like, I kind of think of Nick Wayne. I think, I can think of like a bunch
of MJF.
MJF would not hit. I don't think the top. I think of almost Darby Allin still. It's like the future. Like MJF, I don't think he's hitting the top 10 at all for that. Dominic, future of WWE, this guy weirdly I think has got something. It kind of sucks about how much this match devolved into like outside interference and a Grande Americano appearance that caused Penta to lose. Of course,
that hurts a lot.
That feels like they could do that at Worlds Collide if they wanted to. Penta versus El Grande. That sounds like a match that they might do. That's not NXT versus AAA in any capacity, but alas. They could do it at the Regia. Was it Regia Mania thing?
Here, Triple Mania Regia.
Yes.
That would be insane. I will say this, I think dominant. I think like when you look at the future of WWE, it's like people are gonna say Breaker and Obafemi, and I'm not at all fighting that because that is
100%. I think
those are the correct answers.
When I think Fletcher for AEW, I think of Breaker for WWE.
Yeah, right. And like those are the very, very correct answers. But like Dominic, with a nice like number 3, 4, 5 type, like and that's good.
And to be clear,
and what works for him is he's over.
I don't think either of us are saying that like he's like the next Cena or like a next multi-time world champion. No, he's not.
But he will be world champion.
Yeah, I can agree.
He will be world champion.
He will be world champion when he wins the Money in the Bank and cashes in on like a super over babyface.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about Dominic. He's cheered. He's still a heel. He's only 28.
Jesus Christ.
Been around for a lot of years now.
Yeah.
Good for him.
WWE Women's Intercontinental Title match. Lyra Valkyria defeats Becky Lynch. This match ruled 18 minutes and 42 seconds.
Becky Lynch is good.
I would argue, Scotty, really good. She's really
good.
No rust whatsoever. She's great.
In her first true big match, I should say.
Yep. I think Lyra Valkyria did a great job as well. I think LJ Cleary did a great job as well.
My ass, by the way.
Yeah.
Put over Lyra clean. Middle of the ring.
Yes, I know. I don't when that started happening, I literally thought,
dude, I'm seeing EO Hogan, so like it's just going. Like,
wait, you're seeing EO Hogan?
There are WWE fans that are saying EO Hogan.
That's worse. So okay, hold on. I gotta full stop. I was just about to say that
they say Hogan everything. No.
When I saw the Becky Hogan stuff, I was legitimately perplexed because I was like, there's nothing about her that resembles Hulk Hogan in my
It's the idea of it's not going to work for me, brother. Continue.
But she doesn't.
I understand. I understand.
That's why I was perplexed. It was like, but she doesn't do that.
That's why it's even crazier for EO.
EO won the title and then won at WrestleMania, and then that's pretty much been it for her. And now you're saying that she's EO Hogan?
Yeah. The problem for everyone now, she's on every show and winning because like they're putting.
She's it's gonna push. It's gonna push.
I understand. You were talking. you were talking to someone who went on your ballot show and scream the praises of EO, right? You don't have to tell me twice.
Episode coming
I'm just bringing it up. Like, this is what some WWE fans, the fact that EO's 35 is crazy to me. Anyways, but like,
it's called a push. Now
I understand.
But it's also like,
no,
who are we supposed to be pushing?
She's won 4 matches in a row. So the people that's like, how dare you have her win? She's the champion. She's supposed to win. God, who
is supposed to win if not the world champion?
I watched her and Roxanne last week. Good match. And I watched her and Jordan Grace versus Julian Roxanne the week before that on NXT. Good match. And you know what my takeaway from both was? This company stinks. They should have been pushing EO for years. Look at her now.
Yeah.
Let alone my thought process was, I think she's winning too much. Like, that's no. This is how you push someone strong for once. God. Never heard Cody Hogan. He won all the time.
I never heard Roman Hogan. I mean, like,
no, that's just Roman, buddy.
He ran for 4 years straight.
He recreated the word. But back to Becky and Lyra, because I think they deserve the correct respect.
Yes.
Very, very good match. Probably the best I've seen from Lyra Valkyria. As someone who's not super duper high on her like other people, but this was the first match.
We talk about the WrestleMania one, right?
This is the first match I watched it. Right, this is the first match I saw, and I was like, think I'm starting to get it. Like, again, I'm not sold on her as like the next big massive star, but first of all, I don't have to be. As long as the crowd is, that's what matters.
Yeah.
But I see why Becky wants to do this.
Yes.
There's something there. I think there's a likability about Lyra. And I do think like her entrance, like she has a big feel to her entrance, something that's very unique for an NXT wrestler. When they come up, I know she's not an NXT wrestler anymore, but when they come up, I feel like you don't always get that. You know, you're just kind of another person. But like when her entrance music hits, I know it. That's a accomplishment in itself.
That's a massive accomplishment for
right. Like
anyone.
when I hear that, I know who it is. So I think that's a good part of it. She has a good presentation.
Yeah.
And I think if the wrestling is up to par like this match, you're gonna be good. The only other matches I've ever seen that were good of Lyra's was with, shocker, here it comes, EO. So like that's the consistency here. And obviously you and me are both big time fans of Becky and what she brings to the table. So her being back is a great thing. And her being back in the mid-card picture to help raise up people, because she's gonna eventually win this title. That's not a question. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So like out of all the many things that WWE is doing wrong, the one thing they're doing right, the Raw women's division.
I think like Lyra Valkyria is someone that just needs more reps with
big stars,
with big, great, or not necessarily big stars, but great wrestlers.
Sure.
Because I think she is a really good wrestler that has the potential to be a great wrestler. And I think a part of it is that, and a part of it, like why we're not, because I think that's almost her strongest category, in my opinion, is her wrestling ability. And I don't think that, I think why that's missing for me in her, why I'm not really seeing it, is because that she doesn't have a lot of opportunity for that in the WWE women's division.
Sure.
Because there is a lot of, lesser,
especially in
wrestlers.
the mid card.
Especially in the mid card.
Because a lot of the great wrestlers are in the main event.
Bianca,
right?
Ripley,
Bianca, yeah, they're all in the main event. So Becky going to the intercontinental scene does a lot of good for her. And like this is the thing with Becky, is she has shown over the past couple of years this is what she can do for WWE, is go to the lower things and make things feel important.
In a certain regard, it helped. That what helped elevated Liv Morgan.
I think Lyra is in a point where if you put her in there with someone good, you're gonna get something good. If you put her in there with someone maybe not so good, it won't work out as well. I think that's fine. Like I think that's a good point of her career, truthfully.
Yes. How old is
because she is 28, so still very young.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people 28. So yeah, like I think there is good signs here. I understand. Again, I'm starting to understand what people see. And I think Becky's going to keep bringing that out of her. Like I saw some of the lead up stuff for them, and I actually thought Lyra cut a very solid promo a few weeks ago, which again, I don't think I had ever heard her cut a promo really before. So I was like, that's good. She's very clearly working with Becky, and that's going far. Like Becky is willing to fall on her face to help someone.
Yes.
And I think that is, again,
the complete opposite
of Hogan.
Famous Hogan attribute is falling
right, of course. And in many ways, I think that's what you need. That's what you want. And hopefully it keeps going up. But I thought this was the best match on the show. And
easily.
Yeah, and very solid match. Like if you put this match on, it was on pay-per-view, but like if this was the world title match, you would have been happy. Right?
Yeah.
Like if this was the world title match, you would have been happy. Or even like that's kind of what you want. And I think that's the fun thing about the one thing I watch weekly from WWE is what EO does for the most part. But I'm gonna go out of my way to see this now. I'm gonna go out of my way to see what Becky and Lyra are doing, because they won me over. And that's really what the Raw women's division, I feel like that's the only thing people ever talk about, or maybe that's just my realm because it's EO. But that always is positive. Like this tonight, they're doing Ripley and EO versus Julia and Roxanne. Like I will be there. Thank you. Should have been on pay-per-view over like some of these matches, but that's fine. But it's like that's the kind of the cool part that they're doing here. It's like they very are clear. They're putting a lot of talent on one show.
Yes.
So you just kind of look at SmackDown, and you're like, good luck. But over here, it's like this is the good show, so that's fine for at least the women. I don't. Who's the world champion? Jey Uso. Yeah, fuck that. Dominic Mysterio is the real men's world champion of Raw, as far as I'm concerned.
Lyra Valkyria, I think another sort of issue in that regard is that like she came up at like just missing the window in NXT development. That like if she was a part of NXT right now, she would be getting all of that like proper great wrestler training that she really needs.
She had a
right
weird
now.
NXT run because she was in she was in UK like kinda, and then like she went over and like I think she beat Becky for the NXT title, and then it was just like her. Like there was no one else there really for a little bit. So yeah, it's a good point by you. It's weird.
Yeah. So I think Becky obviously sees something in her. So and has lost to her, I think, twice now. I think it's singles competition,
Clean
right?
twice.
So she obviously sees something in her.
Real Hogan moment there. Putting someone over twice. Clean.
Can you believe it? And obviously they're also building up to another match with the post-match angle, I have to imagine.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Becky is at some point going to win the IC title. It's just a matter of
I think it's fascinating that they're building to Becky versus Bayley. Very clear. Like that's obviously I'm fascinated to see what that looks like too. But again, that's what those two are willing to do. And the same goes for Mercedes, not the other horsewoman. They're all willing to do mid-card stuff to bring up the division.
Yeah.
All three of them.
Yeah. And especially it's something that you need right now because I think after WrestleMania it became clear that the top end of the women's division is good. We're good. We don't got
the best part of the company.
Yeah, we don't got to touch
on Raw.
So it is just like, okay, then we need to bolster, especially since you have mid-card titles now that you have to deal with. You have to bolster that mid-card division, you know?
It's so funny because I just was about to ask you who is the SmackDown mid-card champion and the world champion, and the only reason I remembered is because she did the Mercedes thing and that people kept posting it. But like that's it's crazy that those two shows are the same company.
Yes. Yeah, we should be clear. We're only saying this really about the Raw women's division.
Only Raw. SmackDown's bad.
SmackDown is bad. Who is the SmackDown women's champion?
Tiffany.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
And then the mid card is Zelina Vega.
Tiffany is like, in an ideal world, is the U.S. title holder. And like someone is properly, you know, up and doing it properly in the world champion spot. Not Flair, but you know what I mean. Zelina Vega, just like the wet fart of the title win, and then just everything afterwards is just so awkward. They have to like use Alexa Bliss to get Zelina Vega a rub.
They release half the roster.
Yeah, and then they release half the roster, which just really affects SmackDown. It's just I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing with this company.
SmackDown looks like the most unwatchable shit. Like anytime I just see someone talk about it, it's like the absolute like most depressing thing I've ever seen. It's also 3 hours still.
Yes. I don't know. I know it's happening very soon. I just don't know exactly when it's switching to
SmackDown
this week. But the only thing great I'm seeing coming out of SmackDown, Scotty, is the tag division.
Which is a fascinating reality for WWE. Continue.
Yeah, so we have Street Profits, Motor City, DIY.
Fraxium and the Street Profits this past week.
Oh yeah, Fraxium are on the SmackDown tag division as well.
8.22 on Cage Match.
But that's also what's weird, right? and like you know, and also kind of goes to like the long-term discussions we've had about like how I think almost like promoters see the placement of women's division. The Raw women's division rules. The SmackDown tag team division rules. And then the opposite of both of those brands stink.
Don't exist.
Yeah. So it's just like
can't do it all at once.
What matters most for all these things it is like, Scotty, it is the thing of like, man, if we just had one show with a great tag division, a great
Right.
women's division, and
Yeah.
and something else happening in the world title picture.
Or one show. No, you're right. One
Yeah.
show would
Just give me
be
one.
great. Yeah.
Just trim it down. Just trim
Triple
it down
H
because you
books for
can't.
one show, but he has to spread it out to 5 hours or whatever.
Yeah, 6 hours, whatever it is
Oh
right now.
God, holy shit!
Oh,
Like,
Paul.
oh, all
What a
right.
tough, what was that this week? I don't remember when they have. I don't remember if we even made fun of it on the show. What was so tough for Paul? He has to work 6 to 8 hours a day every single day or whatever.
Yeah, that's funny.
Paul.
And then the opener was fun.
Yes, Jacob
fine.
Fatu defeats Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight to
Jeff
retain
Cobb.
his title. Jeff Cobb made his debut. Drew McIntyre got
What's his
injured
connection
probably.
here? Why is he with the Samoans?
He was born on an island in the Pacific. That is entirely why he is a part of the bloodline.
I'll tell you what, he looks wicked small next to the other two.
You forget how small Jeff Cobb is.
Yeah, because like in New Japan,
Especially-
obviously
yes.
a lot of guys are shorter and smaller, but they feel bigger, right?
Well,
like Shingo feels big, but if you put Shingo in WWE ring, he'd look small.
I just also feel like New Japan shoots so much from like a low camera angle.
Yeah, so it helps.
To help. Because when he goes over here, a lot of the times it's on like almost 6 foot guys shooting and like you have like I'm just like get hire shorter cameramen and you wouldn't have this problem.
I will say happy for Jeff Cobb. Good for him. Get paid.
Yeah,
whatever.
Jake, this match was really good. This match was really fun. Sucks.
He did make me watch the Callum Newman match though, and I will forever remember that. Thank you, buddy.
Drew McIntyre getting injured stinks. It does stink. I hope it's.
Oh yeah, I saw him land, and I was like, that didn't look good.
No,
I was like, that did not look good. His head bounced.
It sort of sucks to see Jeff Cobb leave New Japan to a certain degree, but I am happy to see him, I guess, somewhere else.
He's like 42, man. Like, go get paid.
Yeah. Cash out.
One contract.
He, as the, I think it's fair to say what's happening is he is the Jacob Fatu replacement of that group.
Right. Because Jacob Fatu is too good and too big.
Way too charismatic. Jeff Cobb fits way better in that role because Jeff Cobb is not even close to the charisma of Jacob Fatu.
And I think maybe my favorite part of the whole match was the way Fatu just looked at Solo. He's like,
yeah.
Like he just sold that, and it's like, okay, I can actually be behind this. I never thought I'd say I would be behind a Solo Sikoa thing, but Jeff Cobb versus Jacob Fatu interests me, admittedly. Like that's a good powerhouse match, you know. And I think I will say this about Jeff Cobb: what's going to benefit him, even though he's smaller, is than those two at least, but is that he's so powerful, it'll look great. You know, like when he does the tour of the islands, I'm sure it will look cool. And shit like that. So good for Jeff. And Jacob Fatu rules.
Yeah. Yes,
that was kind of my whole takeaway from this match. And they pinned the right guy.
Yes. Yes, they did. Yes,
they dweeb.
That's Backlash. We'll see what happens next. What did you say the next pay-per-view was? I guess Saturday night's main event. Technically.
Saturday night's main event, which sounds
not a pay-per-view.
Terrible. Sounds like the top two matches on that show are going to be Logan Paul and Jey Uso and John Cena and R-Truth. Which, to be fair, that at least interests me because it's going to be like 2 seconds.
Yes.
Logan Paul and Jey Uso? I don't want to watch that show.
Like, well, we'll preview that show, I guess, next week to see what happens. And then when's Money in the Bank? That's in June?
Battleground's happening at the same time as Double or Nothing.
Yeah, well, that's not a shock. That's not a shock at all.
I just realized it.
Money in the Bank is in June, right? And then Evolution perhaps also in June. We'll see.
Maybe.
There.
If they were going to run it, just run it with the Raw crew. Thank you.
That's a nice little button.
Oh, and NXT. You could throw in Stephanie. match on there for sure.
Yeah, just do Julia and Roxanne or Julia versus Io Sky.
Yeah, I guess no. You want me to? I could see. I could see that be Rhea and Io main eventing though.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense to me.
Maybe Nikki Bella comeback. Sorry, probably honestly.
Maybe a little Brie mode.
Oh god. Oh, they can win the tag belts.
The tag belt's still around.
Liv Morgan's doing a movie, but like I'm sure she'll be back.
Okay, hold on. They fired a bunch of tag team wrestlers in the division, and one of the people that are holding the title is filming a movie.
Hey man, good for her.
Company
get paid.
Stinks. Just not. Why then? Get rid of the tag division.
Time right. There's just something new every time with the company. It's like, wait a minute. Oh,
stop. They put the cart before the horse so much. Stop having all these belts when you're not ready. What are you doing? Oh, God.
We have fun here.
All right. Okay. AEW Dynamite Beach Break. And I guess also Beach Break Collision. Beach Break Week is happening.
You say Beach Break Collision. I might come through the screen and punch you. That's not what I meant.
That is technically what it is. Beach Break Dynamite and Collision is happening this week for AEW.
Beach Breaks got cooking.
In Hoffman Estates, I got one match. It's not really cooking, so we'll see. One match in the Now Arena in Hoffman Estates. So we'll see what happens there. But what we got so far, I'll give you that Collision one since I've already teased it up. Megan Bain versus Anna Jay has already been announced for that Collision one. I'm sure I'll get more announced on Dynamite. But on Dynamite, we have an interesting 4 matches here, I think. We have the AEW Women's World Title Eliminator 4-way match. A 4-way eliminator is very interesting to me. Toni Storm, of course, versus Sky Blue, the returning Sky Blue. Chicago.
So they have nothing to do for Toni.
No, she's just facing every single wrestler in the division, apparently,
and
through eliminator matches.
Correct?
Yeah, I think she won the 4-way on Collision, right? Am I not mistaken?
Is this when I make the Tony Hogan joke, or is that later?
If you want to do it more to that, I think it's more accurate.
I don't want to do it either way, but
because that being said, I think Toni Storm's not winning this match.
Right. The idea is one of them are won so that she gets the title match, right?
Correct. But
Mina Shirakawa wins. That's my prediction.
Doing an eliminator as a 4-way is crazy because there's literally like Mina Shirakawa can pin Sky Blue and then she gets a title shot. Like it's just
I can't believe that like the return of Sky Blue is the big hype.
Yes, that's pretty much it. Because we have 2 mystery people. We don't know who they're going to be.
Who do you think they're going to be?
Mina Shirakawa does make sense to a certain degree.
Yeah, I just watched her get pinned by Azmi.
Yep. So she can eat the pin to Sky Blue. Is what you're saying.
Oh dear God.
They're circling with Statlander and Willow again, so I guess it could be one of them.
Can we talk?
Go ahead.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Why? Like, why can we not book these 2?
They can't figure out what to do with them, so we'll just keep having them wrestle. Which, to be fair, Scotty, I'm not complaining.
Sure. Like, I have no problem with them facing each other. But like, for every time I see someone make a complaint, the only complaint that is needed in AEW these days is what the fuck are we doing with Willow and Chris?
Yeah. Willow
should have been world champion 3 times over by now. The same goes for Chris.
And now Willow is apparently in her contract year, reportedly.
Oh, that's the thing. I saw that. I was like, I don't want her to leave because the other option is not exciting to me for Willow Nightingale.
No.
So I'm not ever gonna say that. But
like, I don't want to see Willow Nightingale, whose whole gimmick is like smile anyways, and all this bubbly joy. Yeah, be a heel, see the joy leave her eyes from wrestling in that company.
Like, I don't think she's going anywhere, and if she does, it's AEW's fault.
Yes,
that she never was world champion. Yeah, because here's the other thing. Oh my God, is Tekla going to be in this eliminator? Sorry.
Ooh,
anyway,
and then Mina as well, because then you could do Tekla. Give her a little boost with Mina because of their history. That makes
bad
sense.
history. They had a really bad match this year. Anyways, let me continue on the Willow train. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to the cinematic spider. I don't get it. Like, and how is this not like the number one complaint at all times for AEW? Because it's not changing.
It almost feels like our number one complaint of AEW.
It has to be. Like it hasn't changed.
I think it's like
And
Willow, Chris Stat, AEW commentary team, Death Riders.
Right.
I think that might be it.
That's it. I have nothing else.
Oh, MJF, and Adam Cole. Yeah. MJF and Adam Cole.
That's true. I'm consistently behind on AEW these days because, like, whatever. I watch it. I'm not in a rush. And I hear it's good every week. Ryan gives me the 411.
It has legitimately been. They've been on a really good roll of Dynamite.
Hangman Fletcher was great. Anyways, but the thing is, like, this is the reality that I hope everyone's living in. Mercedes Moné is in that world title match at All In. I don't know why people are like, "Oh, she's gonna lose, and she's gonna lose to Jamie." No, she's not. There's not a shot in hell. I think that happens. They did the Athena match. Why are we running it back? No reason to. Why would she cost her? Why does she care? The biggest match at the biggest show is Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Especially now that you did the Athena one. I saw it in person. It was fantastic.
Yeah. That has full stop ended, you know?
Right. They not even a whiff of it. Meanwhile, what are we teasing every week? Mercedes and Toni.
Mm-hmm.
We've been teasing it since that Athena match when Toni was literally in the wherever it was,
the balcony
or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, and that's fine. You know why it's fine? Because at the end of the day, All In's your biggest show of the year. You're supposed to be building your biggest match of the year. And you and me have said this. I know I've been saying this. The real world champion of this company has been Mercedes Moné since the moment she won the TBS title. So why not just make it official?
I don't know. Lately, Toni Storm has given a run, I think, for Mercedes money a little bit. Which Mercedes money actually worked out quite well for me there.
Very nice. Like, I don't really care who wins it. I don't. But like, it's hard for me to believe that Jamie Hayter is the challenger, not in the UK All In. Like, that's the other part, right? Like, it's gonna be Mercedes. You're trying to build the biggest show to sell the most tickets. No offense to Jamie, love Jamie. But that's just where I'm at. And also, like, Mercedes' first AEW loss coming in the finals of the Owen doesn't have the same, click.
Now it coming to Jamie Hayter, I think, is believable.
Be huge,
which is, I think that's the good booking of it all. Is that, like, that is believable, right?
Willow,
or
Chris.
Any of those three, right? I think
that was to come back around to those two.
Yeah, I think any of those three would ultimately be believable. It is just that it would be weird, I think, because it is like,
it would be weird unless she gets screwed by Athena. But at the same time, I don't want her first loss to be a screwy finish.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
It's WWE's booking.
And to a certain degree, the biggest show for AEW, especially stateside now, should have an element of dream matches, right?
Sure.
And we are heading down the pike of, like, what is the biggest women's match we could do in AEW right now, and that is Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné. What is the biggest dream match? Probably we like kind of like, dream match to a certain degree. I want to have again.
I understand the phrase,
Omega versus Okada. Like, what are the biggest things we could do? And that makes sense. If it was like the Raw women's division, then you could maybe split off Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné into their own separate singles title matches. But it's not. We don't have a third, fourth person that, like, is that. I think Willow is probably the third there, but you need a fourth as well. So that's just kind of how it is.
And again, the problem is for me as well. It's like, I would obviously love Mercedes and Athena on the big stage in Texas. That'd be very cool. But they have completely let it go since they had their match.
Yeah.
So, like, at this point, it's like, unless she loses clean to Jamie, and then the idea is to bring it back around, fine. But it's difficult for me to see it. And then at the same time, it's also like you want the biggest match, and that's Tony and Mercedes.
Yeah. You could maybe have her lose because of Athena, but even then, like you said, I think that's that would be kind of cheap a little bit.
And also, like, everyone else is a baby face. Mercedes is the only one that's not. So her beating Tony's like, or facing Tony at least, is like the only thing that works there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, plus there's also the history story of it all, of the first All In. Tony Storm goes in as champion, I think.
No, Sheeta and Paige won.
Yes, it was Sheeta. But Tony Storm's, I guess, in that match, and that's where Mercedes Moné popped up in the crowd.
That's also where Tony started to start Timeless, I think.
Yeah.
He lost.
Yes, because that's
she started to break down into madness or whatever.
Yes, that's when that all started.
Remember correctly. Oh, by the way, I remembered the one thing. You know how you were saying like complaints for AEW. I remembered that I have a number one that's higher than all of them, and that's Hangman Page. Continue.
Ricochet versus Zach.
That's a personal one that I say to you all the time.
Ricochet versus Zach Gowen. Yep, that Zach Gowen from 2003 SmackDown, the Mr. America era of SmackDown. He's back. He's wrestling Ricochet
every year since.
Yeah, he's been around. He's done his as the kids say, he's done his thing. No kid says that. Yeah, he's going to wrestle Ricochet on this show. He is a bona fide wrestler. He's wrestled over 500 matches. And yeah, he's going to lose to Ricochet probably, but that's fun. I don't know. Zach Gowen, I guess, could beat Ricochet. It'd be fun.
This tag match is crazy.
This is a weird match. To me, it's a weird match to do here, but I'm not opposed to re-seeing Zach Gowen on a big public stage like this. So yeah, it's a weird, wacky match. That's like, sure, I'll accept this. You're really distracted by this match you're looking at.
Have you ever seen his All Japan run?
Zach Gowen's All Japan
run? Keiji Muto in every single match.
What?
This is crazy, dude. Yeah, 2007, he just did an All Japan tour.
If I'm Zach Gowen, that's awesome.
It is awesome. And it's crazy because he literally never didn't team with Keiji Muto. Every single match, he was with him.
That's crazy.
You're welcome for that. Him and Ricochet.
He wrestled Kojima multiple times in these matches.
Yeah, you're welcome for that. I went down the rabbit hole of Zach Gowen, and I have walked away impressed.
All Japan legend Zach Gowen versus Ricochet. There it is, folks. Yeah, so that's weird. It's a weird, wacky match that is weird to be on the show, but it's like I'm fine with it. I think everyone like fondly remembers Zach Gowen in 2003, so why not? Let's just see this.
Yeah, I mean the angle to shoot it was pretty nuts. I'm gonna say this, and it's not because he's a celebrity, but I feel like this match is gonna be a better accomplishment at what Gunther and Pat McAfee was supposed to be, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I it's obviously different, right? Because Zach Gowen, I guess it's technically playing a fan. Like no one knows he's been wrestling this whole time in TV.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So like in the idea, it's that rather than a commentator, but it's the same premise, and it's probably going to be way more heel heat for Ricochet than it is Gunther.
And instead of doing like constant, that's the thing with that Gunther.
He'll get one sick hope spot. It'll be awesome.
Yes. And instead of like constant hope spots, which at a certain point is no longer hope spots, it's just the match, right? That Gunther Pat McAfee match. Absolutely. We'll get like we'll get like one or two, and then the third one he'll have like basically like the hot tag version where he'll just go on a run, hitting Ricochet.
Yeah.
That will roll.
Ricochet is easy to hate.
Yes. He ultimately, you know what this is? A win for the heel character that is Ricochet.
Yeah, I gotta say,
rules.
ate shit on Ricochet. I mean, I don't think I ate shit. I think I was correct. Babyface Ricochet sucked.
Sure.
I think I was right. But he's completely flipped the switch.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He is one of the best characters in wrestling today.
I remember being on the show and I was like, I don't want to see this guy at all. This guy is no. I literally said that word for word, and now I'm like, can't wait to see him versus Zach Gowen.
I'm locked in on that one.
Right. And I just think like he is very unlikable in the right ways.
Yeah.
Because he's naturally cocky.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
You know, the way he talks, you just kind of like
he's got that swagger walk too.
You just want to kind of give him a whole knuckle sandwich to the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Can I say something that I truly appreciate about his presentation? Is Justin Roberts and say, show some love for Ricochet. Like, I think that fucking rules.
Yeah, it's a good bit.
Every single time Justin Roberts says that, I laugh because it is so fucking funny to me.
Show some love for Ricochet.
He's all suave about it too, and Ricochet's coming out like, yeah, baby. Like, he's just
wait a minute,
Rico Suave out here. No, not whatever.
Do I have his faction?
Not prayer hands.
The big LG? The big LG?
What was he wearing? We didn't talk about it. We'll talk about Resurgence.
We'll talk about it.
Put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that. Otherwise, on the show, we have, I think, a fantastic tag team match. Adam Page and Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander.
Are you excited for the show that we review, Double or Nothing, and I crash out?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Because you know it's coming.
And by that you mean Adam Page losing? Is that what you're expecting?
Yes. I'm gonna be very upset.
You're resigning. You're preparing your body and mentally.
I also think it's very funny though, just to think about this, right? That there is a reality where a year later, not in the UK, the AEW runs Ospreay and Jamie Hayter in the big 2 title matches.
Sucks.
Like,
suck. Sucks.
No shit. It's like, oh, Texas. Nothing says Texas like the 2 Brits.
Yep.
All right. I mean, I'm not going to lose hope on Hangman until I have to.
I don't know. I just kind of think that Ospreay has too much of those Codyisms in him right now. That I actually do think Page is going to win at Double or Nothing. Yeehaw!
I'm not really into the Ospreay. I don't know if it's a story or not.
Yeah,
it's just kind of he's there.
His thing, I guess.
Right, his thing is like I win, and then I lose. And it's like that is the Codyism of it, but like it's not as connected, right? Because he's not chasing Roman or something like Cody.
This isn't what are we the Codyverse. This isn't the Codyverse with Ospreay.
God bless.
This is just less. This is less connected for sure.
Yeah,
and then it becomes like, what do you do with Ospreay at All in Texas? It's like I don't know. I mean, even then, like, what do you do with like Hangman Adam Page at All in Texas? And it's like I don't know. There is an element
something for Ospreay pretty easily.
Yeah. Obviously, this is just a preview tag, and it's fucking rules because these are 4 great wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
this should kick ass. This would kick all the ass in the world.
All the asses, every single one of them.
I love, by the way, that AEW.
Oh,
asses also. That's what they call me. They call me Billy Gunn Knightsy over here because I'm an ass man.
Good God.
I we need a video graphic that's just like my head, like the picture of my PNG of my head
He's an
tilting.
ass man.
He's an ass man. Oh, I shouldn't hold
Oh,
my
you
head
know,
up to do
you
that.
know what it's gonna be. Osprey's definitely winning because it's gonna be Hangman and Swerve versus the Young Bucks.
Oh yeah, that's also the probability. It could be Osprey and Swerve. They could always just spin off and do that.
That would be fine. I
Yeah,
mean, I think that's fine.
they are establishing that Osprey and Swerve are best friends, right? That was with the promo last week, right?
Right.
Is that
So I think
Osprey?
that's cool.
And I would welcome that. I would also
Yeah,
welcome
I mean,
that.
here's the thing. Either way, the tag match will be great. Like that's you put
Mhm.
Hangman in there, put Osprey in there, whatever. I
To
feel
go
like
back,
it's too soon to do Hangman Swerve.
yes, I agree. I agree. I think that's
He
still
burned
too
his house
soon.
down last year.
Yes. Yes. It should. You know what they should do is, we should get a sequence where Hangman and Swerve are just doing the building a house sequence from Red Dead 2, with the music, timing, and everything. That's what we really should be doing. To go back to my previous point, when I said I was an ass man, what I do like about what AEW has done, especially this year, is the sheer amount of great preview tag matches we've gotten. You know,
Yeah.
Grand Slam Australia,
All-star
this one, these all-star tags, these preview tags that we've been getting. I think they
the
have
easiest
ruled.
recipe for them.
Easy, great recipe for them to do. It has ruled, and I've enjoyed them. So I'm glad we're getting it again here. So nice little match here that I'm very much excited for. And of course, the main event, AEW World Title Steel Cage match, Jon Moxley versus Samoa Joe.
I know it's not going to happen, but I gotta say it. Samoa Joe should win.
I know. I agree. Samoa Joe should win.
I couldn't have less hope, and I also think they're doing this because we're doing the stupid anarchy match at Double or Nothing, and there will be no world title match.
Yep.
But Samoa Joe should win. You'll never convince me Samoa Joe shouldn't win a world title. And you know why? Because every time he does, things get better. And I'm not even saying AEW needs to be better right now. You keep telling me it's red hot, and from what I've seen, pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's more enjoyable for me that I'm not following week to week, and I am just 2 weeks late.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's like I'm watching on my time.
While drinking a Mai Tai.
But no one will ever
Fun joke.
no one will ever stop me from saying Samoa Joe should not he should win the world title. 100%.
Yeah. I do agree.
He's Samoa Joe.
He's Samoa Joe.
He rules, dude.
Anarchy in the Arena is what, 5-on-5?
I guess. I mean, it could be as many people as you want, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I would say the Ops on one side, probably.
The Ops, Swerve, and assuming Hook's out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could make an update, like,
the Ops, Swerve, and someone versus the Blackpool. What the fuck are they called? The Death Riders and the Young Bucks.
That would be Mox, Claudio, Yuta,
Wheeler. Yeah.
Pac's injured, right?
Yeah.
And then the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And then, so then who's that fifth guy of the Ops? Swerve.
Is it just Hook?
I guess it could be Hook.
Real wet fart of a person, but
yeah. I'm just like going through my head of like, who else? Who else?
I'm asking you truly because I don't know if I'm missing someone.
I feel like my brain is like missing someone huge.
Do Eddie Kingston. For the love of God, do Eddie Kingston.
It should be Eddie Kingston. We can all agree that should be Eddie Kingston for sure. Yeah, in my brain, right? I just like, oh yeah, Slotty Briscoe. Why not? That would work. That would work.
I'll never say no to Mark.
Speaking of Slotty and Briscoe, can I do a quick tangent since we're kind of done with Beach Break?
Champion? Oh.
I do enjoy. I'm gonna get crucified potentially for this. I don't think I will. I don't think
by me.
No, not by you.
You don't think I'll give a shit? Okay.
Yeah, I do enjoy Orange Cassidy, but
say it.
I haven't really. And it sucks for him to be injured, but I haven't really missed him. Yeah, he's injured right now.
Hmm.
I haven't really missed him. Not on television. Him being gone, it's just like the show's been red hot, everything's great, and it's just like, huh. I is putting Orange back in, it's like, all right, that doesn't do anything, I
Sure.
think, for me. Just I don't know. I've had that thought in the past week that I just want to share.
Hey man. I am of course one that have not enjoyed him pre-injury. So and that's been years of that. So you're not gonna get crucified by me. You know who is healthy though, and is gonna make the product better? Rock Hard Juice Robinson, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Him back.
I cannot
Big
wait.
LG back.
I want this clean. I want this clean for everybody. I cannot wait to get Rock Hard again.
Oh god. Ew.
New Japan Resurgence.
Oh Jesus.
New Japan Resurgence happened this week. Toyota Arena, Ontario, California, 2,000 in attendance. 2,000 people were in attendance in the black void of Toyota Arena. While the sun shoots directly into my eyes at any moment in time. There was like one point where like Takeshita and El Phantasmo were like on the turnbuckles about to do like a superplex or something, and just like right behind them is just the sun blaring my eyeballs.
The sun blinding me.
I was blinded. It was unbearable.
You're like, God, stop.
Just turn on a couple lights to make this better or something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But that is the Toyota Arena. I watched the full show. It was a pretty decent show, I thought.
Watch the full show.
I did watch the full show last night. It was a pretty good show. There wasn't a bad match, I think, here. I mean, yeah, like legitimately, there wasn't really like everything was like I think 3 and above. Well, and I did do 2 3/4 on one match, but ultimately,
Have
like
I shared my New Japan strong thoughts on this show?
I did notice when you wrote the description of this episode on YouTube, you wrote New Japan opinions, and so I was like, huh, does Scotty have New Japan opinions? I'm fascinated.
New Japan strong universally waters down New Japan Pro Wrestling.
When I just said this was a good show.
No, it's not because of the show necessarily. Like the shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the amount they do them and the
how often do they do the shows?
They do 4 or 5 a year now.
Is it quarterly? Go ahead. Keep going. I'm just gonna look.
Yeah, it's quarterly, for the most part. But like to me, I think that Battle in the Valley, Resurgence, Windy City Riot. Sorry, now I'm thinking about it. Strong Style Evolved. That's 4. I feel like I'm missing one. What's the August one?
Are we counting Royal Quest? No, we're not counting Royal Quest. I'm still Capital Collision.
Yes, those are the ones. Anyways, my thought process though here is New Japan Strong waters down New Japan and it makes it less special because they have to book for this, and usually the booking for these shows is not very good in terms of like the finishes or whatnot. I will talk about it with the IWGP World Title match. And overall, I just think like it makes like the excitement level when they come to America isn't there.
Yeah.
And the production's bad. That doesn't help either, which just universally makes New Japan look worse because they have such amazing production in Japan. But I just think that's my take. Like, I think getting rid of the New Japan Strong brand would benefit them, and just doing special US shows rather than having to do them would be better. But that's just me.
Fighting
would
Spirit
make Forbidden Door more special too.
Fighting Spirit Unleashed was also another one. I think we forgot 5.
Because
I was like looking at it, I was like, August, is that the last one?
6.
I think okay. So what I have is
Fighting
Strong
Spirit
Style
Unleashed.
Evolve.
Yeah,
they also do.
Yeah. I think
December.
it's 6.
Yeah,
it's a lot
Strong
of
Style Evolve.
That's too many.
Fighting Spirit Unleashed. Capital Collision.
It makes New Japan Strong makes New Japan not feel like a premium brand, which I think they should want to be presented as.
Resurgence, Windy City Riot, and then the first one, which is Battle in the Valley. So 6.
Yeah, so I stand by my point, and I'm running with my point. That being said, the show is fine.
I think if you bring it back, dial it back to 4, that would work. I think it would help. I understand,
Probably.
I understand why they do it, and I don't necessarily.
I get it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Rocky Romero booking is not very good though.
It's fine. You know what I mean? It's like it is serviceable, to a certain degree, but
Yeah.
it doesn't. There is no oomph really, right? These shows, there is stuff happening on these shows. There are
Right.
stories that are happening. There's title matches and title switches happening on the show, right? But it
Mhm.
also weirdly feels like, oh, hey, New Japan's in town. Like
Right.
it feels like that's the show.
Yeah.
Whereas it doesn't feel
It,
like a continuation of New Japan's booking or anything like that.
no.
Even though it to a certain degree it is, right?
It just feels like you kind of throw stuff at the wall to make it stick, right? Like, oh, we kind of need to book for this show. Here's random match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Um, I think if the more unique idea would be if maybe they're bringing more CMLL and things like that with the show,
Yeah.
make it more. In a way, you should almost have it be different from New Japan, but that's the problem. It's watered down New Japan at the end of the day. Even when you're bringing
Yeah.
in the IWGP World Champion, it still feels watered down.
Yeah, and look, I mean, they loaded up the show really. I mean, look, there's literal 5 title matches. They had Mercedes Moné, the Takeshita. They had Ishii, which really, he does well in America. They had freaking Goto and IWGP title defense, and it only drew 2,000. I mean, 2,000 is nothing necessarily to scratch at, but that doesn't feel like a lot for what this
Yeah,
show is supposed to be. And I
right.
think what you're sort of describing is what the ticket buying audience is seeing, is feeling
Yeah,
about these short shows.
they do California a lot, obviously too,
Yeah.
by default.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just they're not shows you need to go see, right? Like if you miss these shows as a New Japan fan, and I know a New Japan fan that was like, I don't really need to watch this show because one, it's not that appealing to me, and two, I'm not going to miss much. It's kind of true. The only thing you missed was obviously the return of the 2 of the top 3 foreigners in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But you also missed the main event, and that main event is just Mercedes Universe. So if you're not interested in that, you're not interested.
I'm just pulling up old attendances to see if what I was just saying
Have they
holds.
run this building before?
That's a good question. Let me pull that up as well. So I got the last 4 U.S. attendance shows for New Japan. They ran it for Resurgence last year. So let me pull that up, which makes sense. So the last 4 I have are Windy City Riot, which was in April, 4,600 in attendance for Takeshita versus
Ooh,
Tanahashi.
and that's the bigger show.
That's a bigger show, and that I think that has also
That's part of it.
they've
When
that I think has consistently been a great show out of all of these.
Battle in the Valley and Windy City Riot are the 2 biggest ones.
Oh, I'll get to Battle of the Valley. Battle of the Valley. Speaking of 1,800, yikes!
Oh, this year was bad though.
Yeah, this year was a bad year. Headlined by Despy.
Previously, it was big.
I should say Windy City Riot headlined by Takeshita versus Tanahashi, and then Battle of the Valley is Despy versus Ishimori. Not really a great main
Yeah,
event in my opinion.
I mean, why would they sell a lot of tickets to that show?
Battle in the Valley, of course, was also San Jose, California. Wind City Riot, obviously Chicago. Strong Style Evolve in December. Long Beach, California, main evented by Monet versus Suzuki. This was 2,400. It's a little more than Resurgence.
Suzuki the draw.
And then in November, they had Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Oh, that was a shit show in Lowell.
In Lowell, Massachusetts, for 1,000 people. Gabe Kidd versus Vegeta for the Never Strong Openweight title was the main event.
That's the thing. That's my point, though. It's like some of these shows they just feel like they have to book because they booked the date.
Yeah,
and that's a problem. That's a problem. That's not New Japan.
That's on New Japan. I mean, yeah. I mean, Lowell, Massachusetts. I don't you look at that number, you look at that card, and you're like, I don't think New Japan should go back here.
Have you seen the Dominion card?
Not yet. Not yet. Is it good?
Well, can I tell you it?
Let's finish this thread real quick. They ran it. They ran it last year for Resurgence. The main event, of course, was John Moxley versus Shota Umino for the IWGP World Heavyweight Title. Sub main event, Gabe Kidd versus Eddie Kingston in that match. Trying to see if there's any other matches that may be of note. Stephanie Valkyrie versus Alex Windsor is kind of note, but that's certainly not a draw.
How dare you?
Yeah, but those last two matches are really going to do it. That was 3,000 in attendance. They lost 1,000 people in a year.
Not great. Not great.
I'll say, Scotty, I'll say real quickly, I think they loaded up this year just a little bit more.
For sure.
Granted, they don't have Mox or Eddie Kingston, but
what you're seeing
for New Japan fans
is you're watching New Japan go up in Japan and down in America.
But to be fair to New Japan, right? You know what you're sort of talking about.
Should be focused on is
Japan. To be fair to New Japan, I mean, America is getting crowded with the WWE, and AEW right now, and all these sort of things. And
for sure,
obviously, you can talk about like the economy and all these other issues that are affecting like ticket buyers. But at the end of the day, it's like if you're the American fan. It might be a fair point in saying that the fandom of New Japan fans in America might be shrinking slightly.
Well, I mean,
ticket buying
for sure, and I think most of the people that New Japan America fans came for are now in AEW.
Yeah, and that's a big problem, obviously, as well. And
like,
look,
all the people I want to see from New Japan don't usually come over.
Yeah. And when was the last time they came to the Southeast? Huh?
Great point. When was
the last time?
Ryan would go, guys.
I've been waiting.
Ryan would be happy to go. You don't let him.
I've been patient over here.
I'm trying to tell them to stop doing less, and Ryan's just like, give me one before that.
Give me one. I went to 1 year. I went to two. I went to the North Carolina one the first time they did that. They really tried again.
North Carolina, yeah.
They randomly ran North Carolina, and that was the year where Trump did the immigration thing, where none of the Japanese talent could come in.
Yep.
That was really bad.
I remember that.
And then then they went to Atlanta, and I saw that live, and that was the one that Ibushi couldn't make it for whatever reason. I forget what it was. I think he got sick or something. And then he was supposed to be the big part of this tour, and then he just
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was like, I've been promised things.
I got one New Japan show here for that one of those. I think it was one of those tours. Maybe not. I don't know. Probably not, because I got Okada and Tanahashi and Ibushi. So I think I got. I've seen Evil multiple times live. He's done the Ring of Honor stuff too.
I didn't get Ibushi. I didn't get a bunch of New Japan wrestlers that one time. I did get Tanahashi teaming up the Rock and Roll Express in a 6-man tag.
Yeah, but see, that's perfect for you. That's the type of shit that's
that's supposed to mean.
That's the type of shit you're like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, I saw Ricky Morton doing a destroyer. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. Okay, so you want to know the Dominion card?
Robert Gibson barely able to move. Of course, I'm into that. Dominion. Yes.
Okay.
Before we talk about Resurgence, let's hear Dominion.
Because I think the Dominion card, and obviously missing the best of the Super Junior match, which will be added. So
Dominion is June 15th, so several weeks away.
Yeah, the second biggest show of the year for New Japan.
We'll do a full in-depth review later.
But the card is interesting to me because I think it's legitimately one of their best cards. Maybe their best of the year in terms of my interests. So you got Bigger Dave Finlay versus Evil in a dog collar match.
Radical dog.
That's the real brother. You got Taichi and Ishii, who I actually really like as a team. They're facing Newman and Great O'Khan for the belts.
Yeah. I have been enjoying them with this Naito sort of war thing. I have been enjoying
They should absolutely win. I just like them. I like them that they're the old guys that kind of hate everything.
Yes.
Me too, man. You have
the oldest young people podcast.
Never Open Weight Championship. The third edition. Bolton Oleg versus Konosuke Takeshita.
That's interesting. That's
Oleg's winning.
I think you're right.
right before the G1 for Takeshita.
Oh, that's very,
Noticing.
very interesting.
Yeah. Shout out to Bars, by the way. Isn't that what it says on his trunks?
Who, Bolton?
Yeah, I think it says Bars.
Probably. I don't know.
Anyway, so that obviously great.
I'm an ass man, but I don't pay attention.
Yeah, you don't pay attention. You're an ass man, but you don't pay attention. What was the Tanahashi versus Yuya, which was a shock, I thought, because I thought that might have been Kingdom, but
This could be like the first.
It's Shinsuke.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what that told me. I was like, it's gonna happen. One way or the other, that's happened. And then
we haven't have we necessarily thought about like Tanahashi's last match being like a multi-man tag sort of thing?
Oh, I think that's very possible as well.
Yeah, we haven't thought about that. I was putting like that name, like Yuya teaming up with like something like Nakamura.
Yeah,
You know,
it'd be very funny after all this time.
Yeah, it could be like Nakamura and
or maybe it's Tanahashi. Yuya and Tanahashi.
Yuya, Tanahashi, Nakamura, all in one team versus House of Torture, maybe.
Yeah. The crowd would be electric though.
It would. It would.
And then Suji and Gabe, obviously. And Goto and Shingo.
Yeah, I mean that's a fucking banger of a card.
That's Dominion. That is like you look at that and you're like, okay, yeah,
that's a Dominion.
And then you add whatever the junior match is.
Despy versus somebody. Maybe a junior tag we add there.
Yeah, why not? But anyways, we can talk about Resurgence.
They opened the show. Fred Rosser defeats Matt Vandegrift in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. This was a good little match. I thought this was a really good match. There was a good amount of intensity with Matt Vandegrift. I assume Dojo trained. A little showcase match. Nice little thing. I did think this was good. New Japan Strong openweight tag team. You see, I'm skipping through these quickly. New Japan Strong openweight tag team match.
I mean, you know, I didn't watch all these.
What do you think? I'm skipping quickly. Templario and TJP get the win. They defeat the world class ring crew, Royce Isaacs and Jordan Nelson, become the new New Japan Strong openweight tag titles. This was the weakest match of the show, easily.
Complain online, get a title.
Yeah, baby. Rocky Romero keeping everybody happy since I don't know 2000 something. That was the next match. I'm not done yet. Little quick on the draw here, Scotty. This was the weakest match of the show for sure, but 2 3/4. It's not necessarily bad. It's shocking that Templario and TJP get the win, but hey, I guess that means we're going to get more Templario, if anything. So get excited for that. And then, of course, an 8-man tag team match featuring the War Dogs losing to the Young Bucks and, of course, Scotty. Oh, he's not on the draw. Hold on. I'll hit it. The Good Brothers, shock amongst shocks. The Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson team.
Yeah.
They have returned dressed like, I don't know what. I don't know what this attire is supposed to be. Carl Anderson looks like a normal person, I guess. Doc Gallows, I don't know what is happening with his attire.
BLG.
But yeah, they're back and they won and they defeated the War Dogs, which I thought about after the fact of like, oh, this is like a continuation of Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. I didn't think about it at the time, but like that's kind of what this is. So again, I thought this was a nice little match.
Shout out to they had their working boots on as much as they can.
They
yeah, the Good Brothers, the saviors of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Saviors? We just said Dominion had a great card and there's no Good Brother to be found
yet.
They get put into the high tag title match.
No, we're adding Carl Anderson to the world title match. Thank you.
Oh, my apologies,
that's the machine gun. Machine Gunka. No, shuts out. Obviously they're great. I find it very funny that my big pop of the night was for them and not the Young Bucks.
That's not shocking.
Not at all. As tradition. Yeah, it was just nice. It was just nice to have some real stars in there, you know.
I think my favorite
bright lights were on.
My favorite quality at Scotty is that he loves Joshi to no end, and then also loves Evil and Machine Gunka.
You damn right. You damn right. The dream match.
His Mount Rushmore is Io Shirai, Mayu Iwatani, Carl Anderson, and Evil.
Carl Anderson probably wouldn't make it on.
Wow.
He's got to put it. I need him to put in a shift. He's got to earn it. That's Evil, 100%. Evil's the best men's wrestler living today. And he's a handsome fella. Shout out to the King of Darkness. Yeah, no, that is my traits. I am a fascinating guy. I'm not going to sit here and defend it. I'm just going to say I'm fascinating and move on.
Arguably undefensible.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my whole thing is Joshi, and then when you ask me about men's wrestling, I'm like, yeah, that Evil dude rules. The Machine Gunko, welcome back, buddy. The bright lights are finally back on. Otherwise, Young Bucks? Who? John
Get him out of here. Get an
Kazuchika, get out of here. Oh, you want to know a fun story?
Sure.
My sister met Kenny Omega this weekend.
Huh? Oh, she went to what, C2E2 or whatever it's called?
PAX East or whatever it's called. Yeah. Got
Pictures
of them and everything.
Went to PAX East and they celebrated the games industry living a long and healthy life. Is that what they did?
Yeah, totally. I asked her, was there any good games there? And she said there was nothing there. I was like, yeah, it sounds about right. But yeah, she met Kenny and Adam Cole.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
But did you say that my
Adam Cole's been hiding me?
Oh, very nice. What did Kenny say? Go fuck yourself.
Well, if my message was shared, then yes.
New Japan strong.
Thank you.
New Japan strong open weight title. Tomohiro Ishii versus Drilla Maloney. I thought this was a really good match as well. It kind of lives up to the. I think it's actually a really good match. Probably the lesser of the matches they've had in this recent string.
Was there a Drilla killer? No, clearly you lost.
I don't remember. I truly don't remember.
I'm gonna guess it.
There was a really nasty pile driver at one point. That I think on Drilla. I think actually on Drilla.
Oh, tough. He's the one with the neck.
Yeah, he's the one with the neck. So it looked really nasty. But yeah, this is again another pretty good match. Never open weight title match. Konosuke Takeshita defeats El Phantasmo, 17 minutes and 48 seconds. Really good. I thought this was as good, if not slightly better, than their New Japan World TV title match.
Oh, I felt like I watched the same thing. It was a problem.
I will agree that same sentiment. I feel like last time in the New Japan World Title TV thing, I praised that like, oh look, they're still continuing the Blue Thunder Bomb to the outside.
Yeah, and then
they did it once at Forbidden Door, and or whatever it was. They had Revolution. I don't think they've done it necessarily again, but they continuously tease it, and I'm kind of over it now. Do something else.
Like hit the goddamn move or don't talk about it.
Yeah. At this point, that's where I'm at. Like I said, this I thought was really good. It did go over the 15-minute time limit of the TV thing by 2 minutes and 48 seconds. That was a nice little bit as well.
Yay.
So yeah, good bit of just like easy peasy booking, and then we all move on for lives.
It didn't piss me off like the next match, so that's good.
Hiroki Goto versus Zack Sabre Jr. No winner because there was a double pinfall draw. That's right. These two men pinned each other at the exact same time. So the title retains under Hiroki Goto's belt. So, yeah, Scotty, what do you think of this one?
I'm so done with Zack Sabre Jr., dude.
Yeah.
I'm so done.
I'm not like negative. I'm not like go away heat with Zack Sabre Jr.
No, that's a me thing, of course.
Yeah, but it is like... It is very much. We talked about. Was it the preview?
Oh wait, like don't be on my screen.
Yeah, I think we talked about a preview of just like he is at this point now of just like I don't know what happened, but we like took all the goodwill Zack Sabre juice in the world, stuffed it into the G1, crushed it into the G1 Climax thing, into the world title win, and then since Wrestle Kingdom it's just been nothing. It's just all gone. I'm not getting into anything that he's doing right now. And then you do a double pinfall draw, which I don't know about you, Scotty, but based off the build to this match in Dominion, almost feels like Dominion might get turned into a 3-way now.
They confirmed it was the straight up. So I'm going to hope New Japan stays true to it, but I am fearful.
Yeah.
I am fearful. Yeah, this sucked. I mean, it was like fine. Like the wrestling was fine. But when a finish is like this, it absolutely pisses the match away for me.
It takes the air out the room.
Like, it's the worst Goto defense, and I did not particularly love the Callum Newman one.
You didn't love it? You didn't love it. Let me change my inflection. You didn't love it.
There you go. I didn't. I know. Shocking. I mean, it was fine. But I just don't like Callum Newman.
So much better than fine. Oh man, that sucks to hear.
I gave it. Would you like my rating for it? I watched it last night before this one, so that back-to-back was a real punch in the gut for me. Watching Goto matches, I was like, wow, that kind of sucked. 2 3/4.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I don't find them believable.
I was on the low end for 3 3/4. I think is what I gave.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't find him believable. I'm not invested. I don't like it. I don't get it. He's not that fast, by the way.
I think I love that. That's your hang up on
the Prince of Paste.
He's not that fast.
I liked it better than this one though.
Yeah, this was just sort of disappointing.
That's a great word for it, Ryan.
Just to continue to continue the strain of Zack Sabre Jr. this year. The word of the year for Zack Sabre Jr. is truly disappointing.
Yeah. I am not excited for his G1 run whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like all going to come down to what block he's in. Like, there is a good chance he could just be part of a block with like a couple stinkers, and it's just I can't get into it.
I feel redeemed. Continue.
Main event, New Japan. You don't want to go in anywhere with that? You're just gonna let that linger?
I mean, I can.
You're just gonna act like the cranberries and let it linger?
No, you know what? I will. Nice. That was good. Oh, okay, he dabbed in 2025. Move on. We're done. Nope. I'm not even gonna explain it now.
I lost it. I earned it, and then I lost it. New Japan Strong Women's Title 3-way match. Azumi, as we sort of
I was right.
Defeats Mercedes Moné and Mina Shirakawa, pins Shirakawa to take Moné's title, just like a 3-way is ought to do. I thought this match ruled. Great match. I think I went 4 1/4 on it. Really great match. Yeah, I really liked it. Azumi was great here. Mercedes Moné was great here. Mina Shirakawa was also really good. And yeah, I thought this was
going to say something mean about Mina.
No. But I thought she did really well here as well. This was a great main event. Looking back on looking back on our preview about how like we didn't necessarily think this would have been the main event, knowing that it became the main event. It was like, oh yeah, some people got their working boots on for this one, and they definitely showed out and showed up for sure. What did you think of the main event?
It was good. I have to admittedly, this was like I was watching this because I was behind on everything. I was like, I think we're going to talk Resurgence tomorrow. I should probably squish this in. So I got it in like super duper late. But what I remember, it was quite good. I thought Azumi and Mercedes could have easily had a singles match. Like, I don't know why. I know why now they went against it, and it was the reason I said is if we're gonna not do a singles match because Azumi or Mina is winning the title, and they went with the right choice because I think this finally brings a strong title to what it's supposed to be, which is the bridge between Stardom and America and New Japan, all 3 of them. So I think that's good. Azumi finally gets a belt, a singles belt that isn't the high speed. So good for her as well. Now there's bad news.
Which is?
The lineage of this championship.
Not ideal.
Not ideal if you enjoy Azumi in Stardom, because the lineage, of course, is Willow Nightingale, who was signed to AEW at the time.
Yeah. It wasn't supposed to be Willow, of course.
Right. Then it's Julia, who of course was signed to WWE. Then it was Stephanie Vaquer, who was signed to WWE. Then it was Mercedes Moné, who was of course an AEW wrestler. So, yeah,
This is the title that both American companies watch.
yes.
You know?
I mean, I think as someone who has watched Osmi for many years, I think it's very clear she is America bound in the next 2 to 3 years. So there's that, and I don't know what to make of it because I don't, a lot of the times as someone who watches all the shows for Stardom, she was once like the MVP of like every show because she always put in the full shift and whatnot, and I think she's starting to lose like that, maybe that need to do that anymore. You could just see it in her, she'll deliver the big performance as you saw here for sure. But I do think there is part of her that is looking at that and hoping or expecting to make the move. And she's always said that. She's always been someone that's followed kind of in the EO run. I don't think she's going to go to WWE though. I think she'll go to AEW.
Oh, I guess it depends on how much she really wants to follow that EO run.
Yeah. I mean, I hope for her though, she has a good run with this belt. I'll be interested to see how much they use it.
Yep.
As well, which is always interesting. Because now they have this and the IWGP, of course, in Japan again. So, last time they did that, Julia got title matches in Japan and America. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I suspect that will probably be the case. Is that we're going to get title matches in Japan?
We're getting an IWGP Women's title match in England. So, maybe open. Well, I don't think that. I think that's mostly to just get a defense in for Shuri before she loses it. But, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. The way to view this and how these two titles coexist because they never have been able to coexist. So I think that is fascinating. But good for Azumi. She deserves it.
Yeah, I definitely think she deserves it. I think you're
She's
right.
the right type for this belt.
Yes,
someone that American fans like, obviously Japanese fans like, hopefully can bridge that like they want this belt to be. And the problem is who she's probably facing next.
Who is she facing next?
So I don't know if you know this, but on the pre-show, Bea Priestley.
Yes, Bea Priestley. I totally forgot about that. Bea Priestley.
And I had the biggest victory lap because everyone's like, "Oh, she's just gonna go to Margo." I was like, "No, there's no fucking shot. Like she's gonna go to Stardom / New Japan because Azumi has already pretty much asked for her to get a job publicly." And the moment I saw her on the show, I was like, "Azumi's winning," and that's gonna be the match.
Yep.
So good for Bea.
Do you think transition champ is what Azumi might be?
Oh God, I hope not. I wouldn't be shocked.
She might be.
Maybe they build it up. They don't do it instantly, right? They treat them as friends because that's what they are. Like for shoot, they are real friends. Maybe they treat that, and then in time you have Bea turn heel.
Yeah.
On a New Japan show, which based on the way they do the strong shows, you can stretch that out pretty easily.
Heel Bea Priestley in Stardom right now. I don't know if that's a great idea.
Oh, buddy.
I mean, I guess
there's a whole conversation about Stardom these days to begin with.
That is probably
the biggest heel is the biggest baby face.
Yeah, that's probably a conversation for another day. But just the idea of like how does the heel face dynamics, the star power qualities, and
I do expect her back in Japan. I'll say that
they could do a double turn. That would probably be the best bet. It could work because I assume there's gonna be a title match, at some point.
Yeah, there will be. I'm gonna guess probably a strong show, but I feel like she goes to Japan.
Yes, I agree.
I've confidently said that, especially with the idea that Tekla was leaving, that they'd want a foreign wrestler.
It's interesting. I said that like, is Azumi a transitional champion? And then it made me think of like, well, then do they just not want to do Monet versus Bea Priestley? And maybe just the timing wasn't right here. But then I also thought of like, you could do Monet versus Priestley if you still want to in Rev Pro. That's
Yeah, for
not as
that belt.
not as big of a stage for sure, but like somebody's got to
Yeah.
win that belt, and
I think
Bea Priestley will probably be popping back up in Rev Pro shortly.
I do think she lives in America now.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
lives in Florida, I think,
that
probably.
doesn't mean she can't go to Rev Pro. I think that's part of it. So I'm fascinated. I mean, I'm not the biggest B fan, but um her top work's better than say Tekla's top work in Stardom. So
Sure.
it's been a long time.
There's a history there. Yes.
It's been a long time, and I watched parts of the match. It didn't look like groundbreaking or anything, but maybe she gets there. And Osmi, someone she's comfortable with. You never know. Good for
Yes.
her though. Get a job the day of. Her and the Good Brothers.
Same boat. Same boat.
Same boat.
That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We're definitely over time, so we appreciate everybody for listening to us talk and yap for all these times, all these days. We'll be back next week on Sunday, I presume. I think we're back in the clear on Sundays.
I make no guarantees. What's next Sunday?
Next Sunday, I think we're back next Sunday, and then we're back to Monday the following there. Next Sunday, we'll probably be discussing. Maybe we'll check. Maybe we'll do a Best of Super Juniors check-in. Maybe not.
They'll be following the Corkin shows.
The Champion Carnival finals will technically be that morning, but I don't know if we'll get a time to watch it. But we'll be certainly previewing WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. What's that?
Have you watched any of the Carnival?
I have watched a little bit of it, not all of it. Not enough. I'm trying to try to catch up this week. But we're still going to preview WWE Saturday Night's Main Event. Marigold has a big time show. Shine Forever, right? May 24th.
Shine Forever.
Yeah, they do. Will we discuss TNA Under Siege? Find out next week. And then yes, we're probably going to be previewing AEW Double or Nothing as well next week. Which is why we'll probably move to Monday the 26th, because we'll probably have to record on then after Double or Nothing. But we'll figure all that out next time on Ring Post Radio. Scotty, before we go, matches of the week, and give us some plugs.
Sure. Match of the week. Oh boy, we talk about so much.
Sorry, hold on. Tarzan just got into the recording booth real quick. I just got to get him out of here.
Yeah, sorry. That was last week. Shit. Oh, shit. Did I watch wrestling this week? I'll go with I liked the Naba versus Naba match from Taka Taichi Mania. The two sisters faced off. I thought that was fun.
I heard a lot of great things about that main event and that show in general, actually.
The main event?
Was that the main event?
Taka versus Tanahashi.
I just assumed that was the main event.
No.
I heard because he typically does like pushes especially
Taka and Taichi Mania, gotta be a little selfish, I guess.
Well, it's Tanahashi.
His name is in it.
Tanahashi's showing up, so to be fair.
Yeah. I've noticed Tanahashi's pretty much like, yeah, I'll be there. Oh, by the way, I never watched Dragon Gate, but I did hear they had a great main event at Corkin this week.
I heard that as well. I'm planning this week to watch a lot of John Cena and try to catch back and watch a lot of the old stuff.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Any other plugs? Shit, that's right. YouTube.com/@ScottEWrestling. I think I'm gonna have an extra video up this week. I don't know. I'm not out of ideas. I'm just lazy. I'm trying to get my life on track and shit, so kind of focusing on that. But I think I'll have a video up. I appreciate everyone that's continued to watch and subscribe. Been very cool of you. Obviously, with the big Marigold show coming up, that will be a good time to check that out. Each and every Friday, 5-Star Joe show is up, so that's a guarantee. I think that's it. I think that's it from me. Follow me at Scotty Wrestling everywhere as well.
My match of the week is going to be from Dynamite, of course. Swerve Strickland, Mike Bailey, Mark Briscoe versus the Young Bucks and Ricochet. Great match.
What's the rating?
4 flat. Great match.
Okay, you sold me on it. I was gonna watch it anyways.
I will be joining Scotty in repairing myself this week, both as my wrestling viewing and, as we discussed earlier, my physical body. I have a chiropractor appointment, a therapy appointment, a podiatrist appointment. I am loading up, as the kids say. No kid has ever said that. My plugs are
For appointments, no, they've never said that.
no. My plugs are the following. Patreon.com/countoutpod. You can listen to the entire season 2, I guess, let's say, of Best of the Bosch. I did all of those episodes. I did 5 this year. And they were really fun, really good. I always love doing that series. So go check out all of those, plus the everything that's on the Patreon. Again, patreon.com/countoutpod. This week, I know there will be a new episode of The Ballot. However, Scotty's hearing this for the first time. It will either be about Io Sky, or if I can get specific things put together, it could be about Sabu. I don't know. You'll find out Wednesday.
Damn, I got pushed back.
You might get pushback, but it'd be a super quick turnaround, so you also might not.
What am I, a piece of shit?
No. No matter what, I'm going to try to do a special sort of kind of like bonus episode about Sabu in a different sort of, I'm trying to do it in sort of a different style than the normal ballot episodes. So if that can get put together in time, then it would come out this Wednesday, and I'll probably just push back the Io Sky one a week. But ultimately something will come out. It'll definitely be something this Wednesday. But if it is not the Io Sky, it'll either be Sabu or Io Sky. You'll find out on Wednesday. But yeah, if not, you'll get a Sabu one later in the week. Hopefully, we'll find out. Follow us on social media at CountOutPod, wherever you get the show, where you listen to the podcast, wherever you get podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. I don't know if there is anything else. I think that's it from us. We will be back on Sunday discussing a lot of previews, Double or Nothing, Saturday Night's Main Event, Marigold, Shine Forever. A lot of good stuff coming down.
Say it right. Say the full name.
I don't have the full name in front of me.
The full name is apostrophe. Marigold, Shine Forever, a glorious celebration.
And it will be a glorious celebration indeed. That we'll find out much more next week on Ring Post Radio when we discuss the show. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you all later. Goodbye, everybody.